Okay. Very
Now you're
strange.
gonna be nervous.
That was really
Wow.
weird. I don't know. It was scheduled for 8:30. I don't know why that happened.
Where do you
but
get these pictures from?
I make them.
I feel like I don't know.
What do you feel like? Oh, look, you got a notification.
Watch later.
All right, cool.
That's live.
Yeah, very strange. I had to actually go on the live studio here and
Alright.
hit go live.
Angela Walker, we're rooting for you.
Yo, Angela
You're not on
Walker,
stage,
man,
but that's my
What's
girl.
the delay?
deserves to be there.
What's the delay in this?
It's like about 7 seconds ish, 6 seconds.
Who's gonna censor us?
I mean, we're not censored, so
Kevin Dunn.
Trump 2020. Trump.
I saw another one.
That's how you
In
get
Richfield.
views. You guys.
He screamed
You gotta
Trump
get. You gotta just clip that and just play it every day, and post it on social media so people.
Well,
can
isn't
know
that what you
it's-
do
so-
when you wake up in the morning?
So people can know what Steve's all about. What?
Isn't that what you do when you wake up in the morning?
No.
You put your boy
Who's
on the
my
headphones
Boy?
and you
Who's my boy?
crank it up.
Who's
You
my
know who your
boy?
boy is.
No.
You saw your boy last week.
Who, you?
Well, I could be your boy, but no, I'm not your boy.
Oh, yeah. All right.
You know what I'm talking about.
Nah.
All right, who's everyone voting for? Answer it. Don't lie.
Yeah, you're forced to tell.
Brian T. Carroll.
Or did you already vote?
Trump is getting my. And then you can fill
All
in
right.
the blank.
So, what are we looking for here with this debate? Like, what are we listening for? What do we think they're gonna say?
I'm
What
listening.
do you think they're gonna fuck up on?
I'm looking for some kind of like substance. You know, I'm looking for like genuine policy talk. I'm looking for like, you know, at least some mutual respect on both sides. You know, 'cause like, fuck, man, like, it was so bad last time, and like, I don't know.
That was
I don't know what Pence's personality is like, 'cause I feel like
He's pretty
just-
cool. He's a cool guy.
Oh yeah, do you guys text each other?
Dude,
or-
I want to hear what's going on with this whole stimulus shit. Because at this point, like, there's so much shit coming out that's going back and forth. Like, someone just give us some clarity. And then on top of that, what plan to bring back the economy? Because
Yes. I agree.
I think they only recovered like a little bit around half of the jobs that we lost due to COVID. So, what's the plan on that? Obviously, what's going on with all these protests and all this, fucking division in the country, how to bring everyone back together and unite the country regardless of our, of what our positions are on whatever topic. And someone fucking address these wars, dude.
They're like
Someone
scared to ask questions
Fucking
about
address these wars, man.
Who's moderating this debate?
Oh, I think it's one from the Washington Post. I think.
that. You said Washington Post.
I think. But I mean, they'll say it. They'll probably say it. And then that's what I expect to hear. What I want to hear is them talk about fucking
I want to hear them roast each other.
small business relief, fucking healthcare for all, privacy concerns, net neutrality, economic civil rights.
Yeah,
That's what I
right.
want to hear, but
Yeah, right.
we're not gonna hear it
Nah.
unless Angela Walker makes it there. So, for the viewers out there, y'all know who to push for.
Go green.
Nah, man. They'll do anything to stop a third party from being like.
Isn't it funny how
Competitive.
the consensus is like, yo, we should control the volume of the mics, but no one says, yo, let's just bring other people into this.
What?
I mean, those are kind of different.
They're not.
It'll make a big difference, though. It'll make a better difference than controlling the mics.
It would just add more like people talking over each other.
No.
It'll be a more.
You saying
I
like
feel
more
it'll be
people
of
in
a
this
mess.
live stream like talking? What are you talking
No,
about? Or
he's
in the
talking about
debates?
it on a debate stage. I feel like the more people, the more of a mess it is. Like, remember those first like Democratic
No,
debates
but that shit
where
had
there were
like
like 12
10
people on the stage?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but that's
Yeah,
fucked.
that was
That's
that
a
was a
lot
little
of
crazy. I agree with that too.
If
I
we
think
had
4
two more
max.
people,
My hair is looking
four is
crazy.
definitely max. If you had 2 more people, I think it'll make a better difference.
And distribute the questions, because I think with more people, there'll be more things to talk about. Because
Yeah.
I feel like all these talking points are the same shit,
It
and
is.
literally there was like you said no substance on it. So at least with like other people, it'll bring other topics because they're from different parties to the table that probably isn't talked about as much.
Yeah, I feel like two just simplifies it for like a lot of people, where they'll see like, okay, this is what this person stands for, and this is how the other person counters them, and I guess it's easier to like, retain that information when it's less people, but when you throw that third person in there, it's a total curveball, and it's like,
We like the curveballs.
I mean, I don't got a problem with curveballs, man, but
Just swing and
Dude,
hope,
you know what there should be? No moderator.
like the Yankees should.
Just
do.
fucking.
I
let
kind
them
of,
talk.
you know, I kind of don't. I kind of like that.
No
If
moderator.
there was just
let
no
them-
one, just letting them scream.
Just fight.
it would just be a mess.
It would be, but I
there
think
needs to be somebody to like, maintain order.
No, it's just like it'll be like fucking charades. There's a fucking topic and they just gotta debate it. Say whatever the hell you want, but as long as we're on topic, that's what you gotta talk about.
I wouldn't mind seeing that. It would be definitely a shit show, but I don't know. Maybe it would have been more productive than we got last time.
Cause dude, he was fucking
Man,
arguing with the
anything could have
moderator
been more
too.
productive than last time.
Or get Joe Rogan.
We've had group
That would
chats
be
more
if they could do
productive
if they
than
can
last
pull off the
time.
Rogan debate. If Biden fucking
Biden
agreed to
should.
it, then well,
Biden
that'd
knows
be
he'll get shit
that would
on
be
it.
quality.
Well,
content
Biden
right
is
there.
saying that he's not gonna debate Trump until he tests negative for COVID.
Biden's saying he's not gonna debate
Scared.
Trump with Rogan there if he has nothing to gain.
Kurt Angle would debate Trump with a broken freaking neck. But yeah. So how about them Yankees, man?
Another thing about the VP debates is pretty interesting. Is they're always sitting.
Yeah, it's a little
always like
strange.
that. But it's always been that way as long as I can remember. As long as I've been following politics since like
Since
Last
yesterday.
week.
I want to say like middle school. Fucking
Don't lie.
Yo.
the first no, I mean
Lies.
the first time we actually had to watch like the presidential debate was in 7th grade.
Yeah,
I
but you didn't
believe.
give a shit back then.
And
Yeah, but no one really watched it.
Nobody cared.
We just kind of looked at like the highlights and just roll off of that.
You just did it because it was an assignment.
You know what's gonna be annoying? This.
Yeah, that. Yep.
That was on cue. I wasn't even planning for that, but
You nailed that right on the fucking on the dot right there.
like fucking the identity pox. Like, come on, man. Come on,
well,
man.
you guys need to tone it down though because
Tone it down for what?
Tone down what? Wait,
being-
tone down what?
because you're really making it seem like you're extremely bothered by it.
No, I'm
it
no
ju-
no
it
no no
just
no no
comes
no
off-
no
it
no
just
no.
makes it- you'll
No,
seem like an
that's so
asshole.
wrong. What I'm bothered by is that this debate is supposed to be talked about, like what they're gonna do to save us from COVID and what like they're gonna do for relief bills and how they're gonna lead the country. And they're gonna start like getting like really weirdly personal, or like they're gonna try to like
Just
play
throw
pander
the
games. Like
identity
that's
politics,
not
like,
that's not something that we
Well,
should be voting for.
Let's see what happens.
Yo, tone it down.
And we'll talk
man.
about
Tone it
Chill,
down.
chill.
We'll talk about it when it happens.
well, we're giving. I'm telling you what I like. What I think will be.
That's I think that
detrimental
might
to
be
the
her crutch
debate.
tonight. I personally think that she has a lot that she has a lot of ammo on Pence and Trump, but I think her crutch is going straight to identity politics and just hitting it and
It's
hitting
whack.
it and hitting it.
Well, I mean, we'll see what happens. It could happen, and you know what? What if it works out for her?
It's pretty whack.
Well,
'Cause you know
I
what?
mean,
Like,
it could. I mean, I haven't seen it
at-
work out for anybody
No,
yet.
it won't work
So,
out
I
because
don't
it
know,
didn't
man.
work out for Warren, and Warren played
It
that
didn't
shit
work out
hard
for.
as
It
fuck.
didn't work out for anybody.
It really didn't work out for. Like people see through that shit.
No, I like Bernie was never like, I'm Jewish. Bernie was like, I have the guts.
Yeah, like
guts
that's the thing, dude.
politics.
If it worked, then you know what should have worked when fucking Biden played Despacito on the fucking phone.
Oh,
But it didn't work.
man.
It just looks, dude. Like,
I wanna
come
see
on,
'em
man.
Fight.
Yeah, it's no good. That's
the
crazy.
thing, dude. Like, there's a fucking pandemic coming around, and you're gonna pander hard like that. Like, there's bigger shit to talk about,
We got 2 minutes here.
and less
About-
and do it in a less insulting way.
Man,
But with Pence,
It's weird with Pence because he doesn't talk.
yeah, I don't know what he's gonna say.
Pence is just chill.
We
He's
only
that
have
cool ass guy.
his
in the
last
back,
debate
like,
basically
doing
as a
nothing.
reference.
Yeah. Well, his annoying thing is like he sticks to like what a lot of like stupid shit Trump was saying, like the radical left, the radical left. Like that gets annoying.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
come
Well,
on,
he's
man,
gonna
let's-
hit that hard.
Yeah.
Is he gonna denounce white supremacist Pence?
I wonder if they're gonna ask that question. If
They
they do,
probably are.
he's probably going to.
That'd be another thing. Like,
But if he doesn't, that's kind of
going around
strange.
it, like that's so
Like
stupid.
why go? Yeah, why do that?
Like it's really like.
Y'all got some of that hand sanitizer? Yeah.
He's got that
Why?
Purell.
Speaking
good
of,
stuff.
they're actually pointing that out right now.
Yeah, 'cause I'm thirsty.
And I think like with Pence, like I don't know. I mean, he's soft spoken, so
Took a
who
shot.
knows how much he's.
What? What? What do you say?
He took a shot.
Took a shot of the sanitizer.
Oh,
It's messed up. Alright, slide this shit back.
all right, let's raise this a little bit. We're about to begin
All
here.
right, 30 seconds, fellas.
Oh, we're getting close here.
Wait, they're gonna have like
It's
introductions of random
up.
people.
I don't know. I mean, we'll start the debate. We'll have it on the screen right there once it actually starts. So
All right.
let's see.
It's crazy too, cause like if they go the identity politics route, like
Damn.
it wasn't too long ago Kamala was like shitting on Biden for like the busing and crap.
Well, I'm sure that'll come up.
Yeah, that's something I can see coming up.
What
But
if
the thing
Pence
is-
says, remember when you shat on Biden?
Well, they asked her already. And she
You still
tracked back
feel
on
that
it.
way?
All right, they're
That's
just
what he
playing the little
sounds like?
intros here, so probably got like a minute or two left.
Yo! That's what I'm talking about.
Leaves us adrift. All
So
right.
you pump
Where
that
you-
volume up.
Who was saying?
You want the volume to go up?
It's so low. Yeah, just put it up.
It's very low. You guys are way
was it
louder.
was it you, Jared, that said you
That's
don't
good.
care about how we feel? You want to know about policies?
What happened?
Was it you that Joe Biden keeps going off like how I feel, how
Yeah,
we feel?
yeah, yeah.
That's what Kamala just said. How we feel.
All right, so they're still not on the stage yet.
Oh, there's a glass shield between the two tables.
In case they try to fight.
All right, I think we're gonna switch over.
We can do better.
Damn.
The vice
That's fine. I
presidential
mean,
debate.
it's gonna be a
live
whole
from the
different,
University of
environment.
Utah
Yeah.
in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, what if
Different
they-
vibe.
What if it's worse?
ABC News election
No.
headquarters. Now
Imagine.
reporting chief anchor George Stephanopoulos.
And welcome back to our special coverage of the race for the White House. Tonight's vice presidential debate now
Didn't
just
she not have a
moments away.
mask on like 2
That is the
seconds
scene
ago?
at the University of Utah.
Put Mike Pence, the head of the coronavirus task force, on defense.
Defense.
She is known for those fierce
Defense.
cross-examinations, those feisty
I was reading
exchanges
that,
during
like,
congressional
Kamala's
hearings.
good
And tonight she's going
when,
to
like,
try
she's
to
in
argue
control,
the
but when
case
she
that this
gets called out,
administration is
that's when she
failing
got
the American
falters.
people
Yeah,
in
like when
responding
Tulsi
I
to
mean,
showed
that's, I
up.
mean, we have proof of
I'm
that,
told
don't
not
we?
just
Shat
that,
on
but
her.
we
a
do,
lot of
but,
times
like, in
fact
general.
checking. They'd say her aim here is not to eviscerate Mike Pence, but to instead speak directly to the American people.
Oh,
about
Yeah.
how
Got Eddie in the house.
Who'll be leading differently in this
Yo,
moment. This
my
is
boy.
a national stage like
About to
she's
get
never
some
been
knowledge.
on before, and tonight she is going to be
This
making
shit's gonna
history
be
here.
funny.
The first black woman,
Yo,
the
don't
first
worry
if you
Asian
go
about
on,
it.
you can see the
American
live
to ever
comments.
debate for vice president, regardless
He's
of
talking
politics.
about
George,
you,
this is a
man.
huge
Don't get
moment for
scared.
women, especially
like,
for
yo,
young
what
girls
happened the other
across
night?
this country.
And we will see how
It was
she
3v1, right?
plays on that tonight. Rachel Scott, let me bring you in as well. Mike Pence has done this before.
Yeah,
4 years
yeah, Eddie,
ago
we heard what
against
happened.
Tim
What
Kaine,
the
did pretty
fuck?
well.
I'm sorry, man.
4 years
I'm sorry I
ago,
had
has
to
a
deal with
very different job.
The fact of the
Dude, my
matter
lower
is, George,
back.
this is not 2016, and right now the country
I
is
wanna know
up
about
against an
healthcare for lower
unprecedented
backs.
pandemic. And Vice
matters.
President Mike Pence is the head of the
If we need it
coronavirus
now,
task force.
if we
so
ever
he will
needed
be
something
put
like that, we
on
need it now
defense
more than
tonight. He will
ever.
have to defend the administration's handling of this pandemic. I'm told that he will largely focus on recovery, talk about jobs, talk about the economy bouncing back. But the reality here is that 26 million Americans are out of a job, and he will be facing some tough questions on that.
That's
front,
actually a good
George.
point you
Right,
just
and the
made.
president has gone back and
It is
forth
hard, man,
on the
especially
stimulus,
'cause
the
we don't know
economic
what's gonna
relief
happen
package
from
over the
here
last
until the end of the
24
year.
hours. That is the stage right there. Moderator
But
Susan
gotta
Page
make a
will be
convincing
speaking in
argument.
just a few moments, outlining her
I feel like
goals for the
Democrats
debate,
like they
talking
have
about
the
rules that she
ammo.
will be laying out as
Yeah,
They have the ammo.
both of them
but-
have
House
ammo.
in
Like,
that hall
both
Yeah.
of them have
last
shit that
night,
they could,
unlike what we saw.
Yeah,
Pull
but
it
I
off
feel like
trash.
I feel like this is the
Here's Susan
Well,
Page.
this is the campaign honestly for Trump to like lose.
for both of them.
Good
it's
evening.
really for both of them
From
to
the
lose.
University of
and
Utah
like,
in Salt Lake
at least
City,
from the
welcome to the first and only
presidential
vice
debate, both of them
presidential
just
debate
didn't try to
of
go for it.
2020.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Sponsored by the
but maybe
Nonpartisan
this'll be,
Commission
you know.
on Presidential Debates.
All right, here we go.
I'm Susan
USA
Page
Today.
of USA Today. It is my honor to moderate this debate, an important part of our democracy.
We
In
good on
Kingsbury
levels?
Hall tonight, we have a
Yeah, I think we're
small
good.
and socially distant
I think it's low
audience,
for him.
and we've taken extra precautions during this pandemic.
Yeah,
It's
turn
Among
that
other
shit
things,
up.
super loud for
everyone in
me.
the audience is required to
that
wear a
shit
face
up.
mask, and the candidates will be seated 12 feet apart. The audience is enthusiastic about their candidates,
There's an
but
audience?
they've agreed to express that
Yeah.
enthusiasm only twice, at the
Sold
end of
out.
the debate and now when I introduce the candidates. Please welcome California Senator Kamala Harris and Vice President Mike Pence.
I wish there was a DraftKings on this too.
There was a what?
I wish there was a DraftKings on this too.
Oh,
You know, there
DraftKings
might
would
be.
Nice. There
Did
probably
you
is.
check?
Check it over.
Look at this guy. Look at him.
Sometimes I forget how he looks like.
Are they gonna shake hands?
No way.
They're gonna dab each other up.
Senator Harris and Vice President Pence, thank you for being here. We're meeting as President Trump and the First Lady continue to undergo treatment in Washington after testing positive for COVID-19. We send our thoughts and prayers to them for their rapid and complete recovery and for the recovery of everyone afflicted by the coronavirus. The two campaigns and the Commission on Presidential Debates have agreed to the ground rules for tonight. I'm here to enforce them on behalf of the millions of Americans who are watching. One note, no one in either campaign or at the Commission or anywhere else has been told in advance what topics I'll raise or what questions I'll ask. This 90-minute debate will be divided into 9 segments of about 10 minutes each. I'll begin a segment by posing a question to each
Here we
of
go.
you, sometimes the same question, sometimes a different question on the same topic. You will then have 2 minutes to answer without interruption by me or the other candidate. Then we'll take 6 minutes or so to discuss the issue. At that point, although there will always be more to say, we'll move on to the next topic. We want a debate
Oh my God.
that is lively.
Start already.
But Americans also
This is such like a waste.
deserve
Pretty anxious,
a
huh?
discussion
No, this is
that
just
is civil.
Annoying.
It's
These
kind
are
of time we're losing.
tumultuous
Not gonna lie.
times,
Yeah.
but we can and will have a respectful exchange about the big issues facing our nation.
I mean,
Here we
Let's
go.
begin with the ongoing pandemic that has cost our country so much. Senator Harris, the coronavirus is not under control. Over the past week, Johns Hopkins reports that 39 states have had more COVID cases over the past 7 days than in the week before. 9 states have set new records. Even if a vaccine is released soon, the next administration will face hard choices. What would a Biden administration do in January and February that a Trump administration wouldn't do? Would you impose new lockdowns for businesses and schools and hotspots? A federal mandate to wear masks? You have 2 minutes to respond without interruption.
Thank you, Susan. Well, the American people have witnessed what is the greatest failure of any presidential administration in the history of our country. And here are the facts. 210,000 dead people in our country in just the last several months. Over 7 million people who have contracted this disease. 1 in 5 businesses closed. We're looking at frontline workers who have been treated like sacrificial workers. We are looking at over 30 million people who in the last several months had to file for unemployment. And here's the thing. On January 28th, the Vice President and the President were informed about the nature of this pandemic. They were informed that it's lethal in consequence, that it is airborne, that it will affect young people, and that it would be contracted because it is airborne. And they knew what was happening, and they didn't tell you.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if you knew on January
talking.
28th, as
She still
opposed to
hasn't
March
answered the question.
13th, what they knew, what you might have done to prepare? They knew and they covered it up. The president said it was a hoax. They minimize the seriousness of it. The president said, you're on one side of his ledger if you wear a mask, you're on the other side of his ledger if you don't. And in spite of all of that, today they still don't have a plan. They still don't have a plan. Well, Joe Biden does. And our plan is about what we need to do around a national strategy for contact tracing, for testing, for administration of the vaccine, and making sure that it will be free for all. That is the plan that Joe Biden has and that I have, knowing that we have to get a hold of what has been going on, and we need to save our country.
She still hasn't
And Joe
answered.
Biden
She hasn't
is the
answered,
best leader
and she
to
hasn't-
do that. And frankly, this administration is
She
full
said
of
She's not. Yeah, but she's not
right to
explaining what any of that
reelection
means.
based on
I could say that.
Thank
She
you,
gave like a
Senator
generic
Harris.
ass answer, but she
Yeah.
didn't
Vice President
explain.
Pence, more than
I mean, she-
210,000 Americans have died of COVID-19 since February. The U.S. death toll as a percentage of our population is higher than that of almost every other wealthy nation on Earth. For instance, our death rate is 2.5 times that of Canada next door. You head the administration's coronavirus task force. Why is the U.S. death toll as a percentage of our population higher than that of almost every other wealthy country? And you have 2 minutes to respond without interruption.
Susan, thank you. And I want to thank the Commission and the University of Utah for hosting this event. And Senator Harris, it's a privilege to be on the stage
He has a voice.
with you. And our nation has gone through a very challenging time this year. But I want the American people to know that
Staring
from the
at us.
very first day,
Oh shit.
President Donald Trump has put the health of America first. Before there were more than 5 cases in the United States, all people who had returned from China, President Donald Trump did what no other American president had ever done. And that was he suspended all travel from China, the second largest economy in the world. Now, Senator Joe Biden opposed that decision. He said it was xenophobic and hysterical. But I can tell you, having led the White House Coronavirus Task Force, that decision alone by President Trump bought us invaluable time to stand up the greatest national mobilization since World War II. And I believe it saved hundreds of thousands of American lives. Because with that time, we were able to reinvent testing. More than 115 million tests have been done to date. We were able to see to the delivery of billions of supplies so our doctors and nurses had the resources support they needed. And we began, really, before the month of February was out, to develop a vaccine and to develop medicines and therapeutics that have been saving lives all along the way. And under President Trump's leadership, Operation Warp Speed, we believe we'll have
That's a thing.
literally tens
It's
of
called Warp
millions of
Speed.
doses of a vaccine before the end of this year. The reality is, when you look at the Biden plan, it reads an awful lot like what President Trump and I and our task force have been doing every step of the way. I mean, quite frankly, when I look at their plan that talks about advancing testing, creating new PPE, developing a vaccine, which is something Joe Biden knows a little bit about. I think the American people know that this is a president who has
Her answer was
put
very-
America
They're both
first,
hitting
and
their
the American
talking
people,
points, though.
I
Yeah, they
believe,
are.
is
Like
now
she hit her talking point and he just hit his
proud of
talking
the
point.
sacrifices they have
It was-
made.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
saved
it was.
Thank you,
countless
Mr.
American
Pence.
lives.
Senator Harris, would you
Oh.
like to respond?
Absolutely. Whatever the vice president is claiming the administration has done, clearly it hasn't
Damn.
worked. When you're looking at over 210,000 dead bodies in our country, American lives that have been lost, families that are grieving that loss. And you know, the vice president is the head of the task force and knew on January 28th how serious this was. And then thanks to Bob Woodward, we learned that they knew about it. And then when that was exposed, the vice president said, when asked, well, why didn't y'all tell anybody? He said, because the president wanted people to remain calm.
Well, let's get
No, but Susan, this is important.
Susan,
I want to add, but Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
I have to
I'm
weigh
speaking.
in.
Yeah, you can
So
have
I
15 more
wanna-
seconds, and then we'll give the Vice President
Thank
a
you.
chance to
So I
respond.
want to ask the American people, how calm were you when you were panicked about where you're going to get your next roll of toilet paper? How calm were you
That toilet
when
paper
your
shit was
kids were
stupid.
sent home from school and you didn't know when they could go back? How calm
Thank
were
you.
you
Thank
when
you,
your
Senator
children
Harris.
couldn't
Yo,
see
she's
your
like
parents
fear-mongering like
because you were
crazy
afraid
right
they
now.
could kill them?
That's the.
She's
Let's give Vice
gaslighting.
President Pence a chance to respond. Vice President Pence, you have 1 minute to
You
respond.
know, there's not a day gone by that I haven't thought of every American family that's lost a loved one. And I want all of you to know that you'll always be in our hearts and in our prayers. But when you say what the American people have done
I need
over
a pen.
these last 8 months hasn't worked, that's a great disservice to the sacrifices the American people have made.
I'm referring
The
to
reality, if I may finish
I'll be
that.
right back.
The reality is, Dr. Fauci said, everything that he told the president in the Oval Office, the president told the American people. Now, President Trump, I will tell you, has boundless confidence in the American people, and he always spoke with confidence that we'd get through this together. But when you say it hasn't worked,
You mentioned, I heard he started talking
when
about
Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx and our medical experts came to us in the second week of March, they said if the president didn't take the unprecedented step of shutting down roughly half of the American economy, that we could lose 2.2 million Americans. Now, that's the reality.
Thank you.
They also
Thank you,
said
Vice
to us if we
President
did everything right, Susan, we could still lose more
That's
than
bullshit.
200,000 Americans.
Vice
Now,
President
one
Pence.
life lost is too
Thank you.
many, Susan. But the American people, I believe, deserve credit.
Yeah, it was too
for
late.
The sacrifices that
was
they
too
have
late
made, putting
at
the
that
health
point.
of their family and their neighbors first, our doctors, our nurses, our first
Thank you, Vice
responders.
President Pence.
And I'm going to speak up on behalf of what the American people have done.
Vice President Pence, you were in the front row in a Rose Garden event 11 days ago at what seems to have been a super spreader event for senior administration and congressional officials. No social distancing, few masks, and now a cluster of
They both
coronavirus
make
cases
funny
among those
faces.
who were there. How can you expect Americans to follow the administration's safety guidelines to protect themselves from COVID when you at the White House have
Damn.
not
Oh,
been doing
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the American people have demonstrated over the last 8 months that when given the facts, they're willing to put the health of their families and their neighbors and people they don't even know first. And President Trump and I have great confidence in the American people and their ability to take that information and put it into practice. In the height of the epidemic, when we were losing a heartbreaking number of 2,500 Americans a day, we surged resources to
Yeah.
New Jersey and New York and New Orleans and Detroit. We told the American people what needed to be done, and the American people made the sacrifices. When the outbreak in the Sun Belt happened this summer, again, Americans stepped forward. But the reality is the work of the President of the United States goes on. A vacancy on the Supreme Court of the United States has come upon us, and the President introduced Judge Amy Coney
Yes,
Barrett.
thank
Great
you.
answer.
Thank you,
This guy
Vice
didn't say
President.
Yeah, he
shit.
didn't
Great
answer anything.
answer.
That was a
Rose
non-answer.
Garden event.
I don't know why
There's
he
a great
turned
deal
to
of
that.
speculation about it. My wife
That's
Karen
why he
and I were
doesn't
there.
talk.
That was
I
a very
there.
hard question.
Many of the people
'Cause
who
it
were
basically
at
was
that
like-
event, Susan, actually were
What the
tested
fuck,
for
man?
It was a gotcha
coronavirus.
question.
Yeah.
And it was an outdoor event, which all of our scientists regularly and routinely advise. The difference here is President Trump and I trust the American people to make choices in the best interest of their health. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris consistently talk about mandates, and not just mandates with the coronavirus, but a government takeover of health care.
Thank you. Thank you.
Quick, shut up. Don't let him say that.
All government control. We're about freedom and respecting the freedom of the American people.
Let's talk about respecting the American people. You respect the American people when you tell them the truth. You respect the American people when you have the courage
Which we've
to be a
always
leader
done.
speaking of those things that you may not want people to hear, but they need to hear so they can protect themselves. But this administration stood on information that if you had as a parent, if you had as a worker, knowing you didn't have enough money saved up, and now you're standing in a food line because of the ineptitude of an administration that was unwilling to speak the truth to the American people. So let's talk about caring about the American people. The American people have had to sacrifice far too much because of the incompetence of this administration. It is asking too much of the people.
Susan, we talked
No,
about
Vice
It is
President
asking
Pence.
too much of the people.
I
That
feel like
they
even
would
if they
not
did
be
tell us
equipped
ahead of
with the
time,
information they
shit wouldn't
need
change.
to help themselves
we
to
would still
protect their
have
parents
Toilet
and
paper
their
would still be
children.
gone.
Kamala Harris, Senator Harris, I'm sorry.
It's fine, I'm Kamala.
No, you're Senator Harris.
I'm
to me.
Kamala.
For life to get back to normal, Dr. Anthony Fauci and other experts say that most of the
I respect
people
that
who can
question,
be
Kana,
vaccinated
actually, that she
need
did-
to be
her answer.
vaccinated. But half of Americans now say they wouldn't take a vaccine if it was released now. If the Trump administration approves a vaccine before or after the election, should Americans take it, and would you take it?
If the public health professionals, if Dr. Fauci, if the doctors tell us that we should take it, I'll be the first in line to take it. Absolutely. But if Donald Trump tells us that we should take it, I'm not taking it.
Vice President Pence, there have been a lot of repercussions from this pandemic. In recent days, the president's diagnosis of COVID-19 has underscored the importance of the job that you hold and that you are seeking. That's our second topic tonight. It's the role of the vice president. One of you will make history on January 20th. You will be the vice president to the oldest president the United States has ever had. Donald Trump will be 74 years old on Inauguration Day. Joe Biden will be 78 years old. That already has raised concerns among some voters, concerns that have been sharpened by President Trump's hospitalization in recent days. Vice President Pence, have you had a conversation or reached an agreement with President Trump about safeguards or procedures when it comes to the issue of presidential disability? And if not, do you think you should? You have 2 minutes without
That's
interruption.
a juicy question. He's not going to answer.
Thank you, although I would like to go back.
I think we need to move on
well,
to the
thank
issue
you,
of
but I would like to go
vice
back.
presidency.
Because
I mean,
the
it's kind of a
reality
dumb
is
question.
that we're going to have a vaccine, Senator, in record time, in unheard of time, in less than a year. We have 5 companies in phase 3 clinical trials, and we're right now producing tens of millions of doses. So the fact that you continue to undermine public confidence in a vaccine, if the vaccine emerges during the Trump administration, I think is unconscionable. And Senator, I just ask you, stop playing politics with people's lives. The reality is that we will have a vaccine, we believe, before the end of this year. And it will have the capacity to save countless American lives. And your continuous undermining of confidence in a vaccine is it's just unacceptable. And let me also say, you know, the reality is when you talk about failure in this administration,
It's gonna hit her.
we actually do know what failure looks like in a pandemic.
Oh, he's gonna talk about
It
the
was
swine flu.
2009. The swine
I
flu
wonder if we're
arrived
going to
in the
get
United
that
States.
answer to that question.
Thankfully,
not.
it was.
It's
ended
kind of
up
a pointless
not
question.
being as
I think it's more
lethal
important to talk about like the
as the
vaccine. Well, I
coronavirus.
mean, swine flu is a.
But before the end of the year,
is-
when Joe Biden was vice president of the United States, not 7.5 million people contracted the swine flu. 60 million Americans contracted the swine flu.
Damn, it was 60 million.
If the swine flu,
I
had
mean, he
been
could be
as
lying out of
lethal
his
as
teeth,
coronavirus
but-
in
but who knows?
2009,
Yo, look that up.
when Joe Biden was vice president, we would have
Somebody
lost
look that
2
up.
million American lives. His own chief of staff, Ron Klain, would say last year that it was pure luck that they did, quote, everything possible wrong. And
If that's true,
we learned from that.
That's crazy.
They left the
Yeah.
strategic national stockpile empty. They left an empty and hollow plan.
We gotta fact
still
check that.
learned from
Yeah.
it. And I think
kinda wild.
American
Pence, your time
people,
is
I'm going
up.
to say again, can be proud
Vice President Pence, I'm sorry,
of
your
what
time
we
is
have
up.
done. And Senator, please
Thank you, Vice
stop
President.
Stop
undermining
talking
confidence
shit.
in a
That's what he
vaccine.
said.
Senator Harris, let me ask you the same question that I asked
Sure.
Vice President Pence, which is, have you had a
not gonna answer, she's
conversation
gonna
or
respond.
reached an
Watch.
agreement with Vice President Biden about safeguards or procedures when it comes to the issue of presidential disability? And if not, and if you win the election next month, do you think you should? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
So let me tell you, first of all, the day I got the call from Joe Biden, it was actually a Zoom call.
Was that like a plug?
That's corny.
Asking me to serve with him on this ticket
Her
was
friends
probably
probably
one of
work
the
for
most
Zoom.
memorable days of my life. I thought about my mother,
I guess she is
who
answering. My bad.
came to the United States at the age of 19, gave birth to me at the age of 25 at Kaiser Hospital in Oakland, California.
Or maybe
And
not.
the thought that
That's
I'd
kind
be
of a
sitting
little
here right
pointless.
now,
I don't know. We'll
I
see.
know
2 minutes is a long
would
time.
make her proud, and she must be looking down on this. You know, Joe and I were raised in a very similar way. We were raised with
Yeah, to
values
keep
that
people
are about
locked
hard
in
work,
prison.
about the dignity of public service,
It's fucked up.
and about the importance
She's
of
not-
fighting for the dignity
she's
of all
whack.
people. And I think Joe asked me to serve with him because, you know, I have a career that included being elected the first woman district attorney of San Francisco, where I created models of innovation for law enforcement in terms of reform of the criminal justice system. I was elected the first woman of color and black woman to be elected Attorney General of the state of California, where I ran the second largest Department of Justice in the United States, second only to the United States Department of Justice. And there I took on everything from transnational criminal organizations to the big banks that were taking advantage
wanna
of
see
homeowners,
what his response
to
is to this.
for-profit colleges
Yeah.
that
That'll
were
be interesting.
taking advantage of
Because
veterans.
he has.
And then, of course, now I
Yeah,
serve in
there's
the
a lot
United
you could
States
say.
Senate as only the second black woman ever elected to the United States Senate. I serve on the Senate Intelligence Committee, where I've been in regular receipt of classified information about
We're gonna find out
threats to our nation and
who came here to
hotspots around
play
the
or
world.
not
I've
right now.
traveled the world. I've met
True.
with our soldiers in our
War zone.
in war zones, and I think
Daniel
Joe
triggered.
has asked me to serve with him
Yeah, either
because he
she's
knows
setting
that
herself
we
apart
share,
or
we share
we're gonna
a
see who came to
purpose,
play.
which is about
Yeah.
lifting up the American people. And after the 4 years that we have seen of Donald Trump unifying our
pissed.
country around our common values,
Don't talk
and
about my
principles.
boy like
Thank
that.
you, Senator Harris. You know, neither President Trump nor Vice President Biden has released a sort of detailed health information that had become the modern norm until the 2016 election. And in recent days, President Trump's doctors have given misleading answers or refused to answer basic questions about his health. And my question to each of you in turn is this information voters deserve to know? Vice President Pence, would you like to go first?
Well, Susan, thank you. And let me say, on behalf of the President and the First Lady, how moved we've all been by the outpouring of prayers and concern for the President. And I do believe it's emblematic of the prayers and the concern that have ushered forth for every American impacted by the coronavirus. But the care the President received at Walter Reed Hospital, the White House doctors, was exceptional. And the transparency that they practiced all along the way will continue. The American people have a right to know about the health and well-being of their president, and will continue to do that. But I'm just extremely grateful and was more than a little moved by the broad and bipartisan support. And Senator, I want to thank you
trying to
and
get
Joe
brownie
Biden
points.
for your expressions of genuine concern. And I also want to congratulate you, as I did on that phone call, on the historic nature of your nomination.
Thank you.
I never expected to be on this stage 4 years ago, so I know the feeling. But the reality is we've got an election before the American people in the midst of this challenging year. And the stakes have never been higher, but I
Thank you.
think the
Thank you,
choice has
President
never been
Harris. I
clearer.
want
That was-
to give Senator Harris
That was
a
a
chance
terrible
to respond.
That was
to
very
that.
strange.
And a good
Question I
answer.
asked,
I don't
which
know
is,
where he
do
was going with
voters
that.
have a right to know more detailed health information about presidential candidates
Damn, I
and
guess we
especially
see-
about
we see who-
presidents?
They didn't let him
especially
respond to
when they're
that
facing some kind of
with
challenge?
her.
Absolutely.
That's kinda
And
weird.
Joe
They
Biden
should've.
has been so incredibly transparent, and certainly by contrast, the president has not, both in terms of health records, but also let's look at taxes. We now know because of great
This tax
investigative
shit is so
journalism
annoying.
that
It
Donald
literally
Trump paid $750
doesn't matter at all.
in taxes. When I first heard
shows
about
his
it,
But he's not doing
I
anything illegal.
literally said, "You mean
This is the way the system is set up.
$750,000?"
But it's
And it
immoral.
was like,
Okay,
no,
but then you have to blame every person.
I mean,
That-
come on. You act like
We
Joe
now
Biden
know
doesn't write off
Donald
tax.
Trump owes
No, it's
and
not. I
is
don't
in
know.
debt
But he
No.
doesn't pay
for
$750. All right,
$400
watch the
million.
debate.
Nah, turn this shit off right now.
It means you owe money to somebody. And it'd be really good to know who the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief, owes money to, because the American people have a right to know what is influencing the
Shit.
President's decisions. And is he making those decisions on the best interest of the American people, of you?
That's true. No, what
or
she's saying is
self
100% true. It should be
So,
completely
Susan, I'm glad you
transparent
asked about
every way.
transparency, because it has to be across the board. Joe has been incredibly transparent over many, many years. The one thing we all know about Joe,
Oh,
he
God.
puts it all out there. He
say
is
that.
honest, he is forthright. But Donald Trump,
This guy's
covering up
pissed.
everything.
Thank you, Senator
they
Harris.
give
I
her
want
mad
to give you a
time.
chance to respond, Vice President.
Well, look, I respect the fact that Joe Biden spent 47 years in public life. I respect your public service as well.
Thank you.
But the American people have a president who's a businessman, who's
Yeah.
a job creator, who's paid tens of millions of dollars in taxes, payroll taxes, property taxes. He's created tens of thousands of American jobs. And the president said those public reports are not accurate. And the president's also released literally stacks of
That's true.
financial disclosures.
It's
that
actually true,
American
yeah.
people can
That's true. That's
review
just income
as
tax.
the law
There are other
allows. But
taxes you do
the
pay. but-
distinction here is that Joe Biden, 47 years in public service, compared to President Donald Trump, who brought all of that experience 4 years
Damn,
ago.
they
What
give
the
him like
hell?
30
Turned
seconds.
this
Damn.
economy around by cutting taxes,
Trump's
rolling
pissed.
back regulation,
Thank you,
unleashing
Vice
American
President.
energy,
Yeah, that was
fighting for
very
free and
strange.
fair trade, and all of that's
Thank you,
on the
Vice
line
President
if Joe
Pence.
Biden and Kamala Harris.
You know, that's a
in
good
the White
segue into our third
great
topic,
segue.
which
Yo.
is
It's like, yo,
about
thanks for
the
feeding me the
economy.
answers,
This
you
has
know.
been another
Kind of.
aspect of life.
That's
for
feeding me the
Americans that's been
questions.
so affected
They didn't answer the
by this
question, though.
coronavirus. We have a jobs crisis
At all.
brewing. On Friday, we learned that the unemployment rate had declined to 7.9% in September, but the job growth had stalled, and that was before the latest round of layoffs and furloughs in the airline industry at Disney and elsewhere. Hundreds of thousands of discouraged workers have stopped looking for work. Nearly 11 million jobs that existed at the beginning of the year haven't been
What the hell?
replaced. Those hardest hit include Latinos, blacks, and women. Senator Harris, the Biden-Harris campaign has proposed new programs to boost the economy, and you would pay for that new spending by raising $4 trillion in taxes on wealthy individuals and corporations. Some economists warn that could curb entrepreneurial ventures that fuel growth and create jobs. Would raising taxes put the recovery at risk? And you have 2 minutes to answer uninterrupted.
Thank you. On the issue of the economy, I think there couldn't be a more fundamental difference between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Joe Biden believes you measure the health and the strength of America's economy based on the health and the strength of the American worker and the American family. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who measures the strength of the economy based on how rich people are doing, which is why he passed a tax bill
That's true.
benefiting the top 1%
That's true.
and the biggest corporations of America, leading to a $2 trillion deficit that the American people are going to have to pay for. On day one, Joe Biden will repeal that tax bill. He'll get rid of it. And what he'll do with the money is invest it in the American people. And through a plan that is about investing in infrastructure, something that Donald Trump said he would do. I remember hearing about some infrastructure week. I don't think it ever happened. But Joe Biden will do that. He'll invest in infrastructure. It's about upgrading our roads and bridges, but also investing in clean energy and renewable energy. Joe is going to invest that money in what we need to do around innovation.
This shit is so
There
generic.
was a time when our country believed in science and invested in research and development so that we were an innovation leader on the globe. Joe Biden will use that money to invest in education. So, for example, for folks who want to go to a 2-year community college, it will be free. If you come from a family that makes less than $125,000, you'll go to a public university for free.
That's good.
And across the board,
Yeah,
we'll
but-
make
I mean,
sure
it's not where
that
it
if you
should
have
be.
student loan debt,
That's
it's
good.
cut by
Free for all.
$10,000.
There should be more.
That's
10,000
how
is
Joe
nothing.
Biden
Yeah,
does
they're
the
like
economy,
just
which is
tickling
What
the.
do they say
investing
after
in the
Cut
people
student
of
loan by
our
10,000.
country, as opposed to
I'm down.
passing a tax bill,
That's nothing.
which
That's
had the
nothing.
benefit
People
of
have
letting
hundreds of
American
thousands of dollars.
corporations go offshore.
I like that.
Something
She
else.
gave some insight. That was
Thank
good.
you,
You're
Senator
welcome.
Harris.
let's
Vice
see
President
what
Pence,
this
your
guy says.
administration has been predicting a rapid and robust recovery. But the latest
Why don't they let
economic
him
report
respond?
suggests that's not happening. Should Americans be
They keep giving him new
braced
questions.
for an economic
It's very
comeback that is
strange.
going to take not months, but
Yeah.
a year or more? You have 2 minutes to answer uninterrupted.
When President Trump and I took office, America had gone through the
hers
slowest
is like,
economic
what would you do?
recovery since the
His
Great
is-
Depression.
You know,
It's when Joe
here's
Biden
what
was
you've
vice
done.
president, they tried to tax
Yeah, but they should
and
have let
spend
him
and
say,
regulate
"Oh,
and
Yeah,
build
this is
our
a
way
debate.
back to
Well,
a growing economy.
this is
President Trump cut
their
taxes
2
across
minutes,
the board.
and then they're gonna.
Despite
go
what
back and forth.
Senator
Yeah,
Harris
but they
says,
haven't gone back and
the
forth.
average
They
American
haven't gone
family
back
of
and forth
four had
the last two times.
$2,000 in savings in taxes. And with the rise in wages that occurred, most predominantly for blue-collar, hardworking Americans, the average household income for a family of four increased by $4,000 following President Trump's tax cuts.
Is that true?
But
He did
America,
cut
you just
taxes
heard
for
Senator Harris
everyone.
tell you,
I know people got
On
more in
day
their
one.
paychecks.
Yeah.
Joe Biden's going to raise your taxes. It's really remarkable to think,
That's
Susan.
not what I said.
I mean, right after a time where we're going through a pandemic that lost 22 million jobs at the height, we've already added back 11.6 million jobs because we had a president who cut taxes, rolled back regulation, unleashed American energy, fought for free and fair trade, and secured $4 trillion from the Congress of the United States to give direct payments to families.
Ooh, he's
save
using that
50 million
stimulus
jobs
with his
through the
name on
Paycheck
it.
Protection Program. We literally have spared no expense to help the American people and the American worker through this. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris want to raise taxes. They want to bury
You should
our
say how the
economy
Dems didn't
under a
want to do
$2
it from the
trillion
get-go.
Green New Deal, which you were one of the
Yo.
original co-sponsors of in the
Yo.
United States Senate. They want to abolish fossil fuels.
He got her with that one.
And ban
That Green New
fracking,
Deal.
which would cost hundreds of thousands of American jobs all
Bad
across
fossil
the
fuels
heartland.
shit
And Joe
is-
Biden
bro,
wants to go
it's
back
kind
to
of
the
against me.
economic surrender to China. That
What
when
he's
we
saying,
took
a lot of the
office,
shit he's saying is
half of
true
our
right now.
international trade deficit was with China.
I mean,
alone.
if you agree with
And
it,
Joe Biden wants to
that's-
repeal all of the
Talking about
tariffs
the trade deals.
that President Trump put into
The
effect to
tariffs
fight
on
for
China were
American
good.
jobs and American workers. Joe Biden says democracy's on the ballot. Make no mistake about it, Susan. The American economy, the American comeback is on the ballot with 4 more years of growth
Thank you.
and opportunity,
Thank you,
4
Vice
more years of
President.
President Donald Trump. 2021
This guy is hyping this shit up.
he had a very good
President Pence.
answer there to that.
Senator Harris.
Well, I mean, I thought we saw enough of it in last week's debate, but I think this is supposed to be a debate based on fact and truth. And the truth and the fact is, Joe Biden has been very clear. He will not raise taxes on anybody who makes less than $400,000
He said
a
he's going to
year.
repeal the Trump tax cuts.
Mr. Vice President,
know-
I'm speaking.
You know,
I'm speaking.
The
Oh,
important is you said the truth. Joe Biden said twice in the debate last week that he's going to repeal the
Damn.
Trump tax cuts. That was
You know,
tax
under
cuts that
Obama,
gave
it was,
the average working family
it was $250K,
$2,000 in a tax
up.
break
Yeah.
every
Joe
single
Biden
year.
raised that
Senator,
number.
That is
That's the math.
absolutely not true.
So,
That
is
Is he
has
he's
only
raising it to
cutting-
what?
Is he only going to
To
repeal
400K.
part of the Trump tax
It used to be
cuts?
250K.
If you don't mind letting
Really?
me finish, we can then have a conversation, okay?
Please.
Okay. Joe Biden will not raise taxes on anyone who makes less than $400,000 a year.
so
He's been very
it's
clear
so
about
it's
that.
worse
Joe Biden
than
will not end fracking.
it's worse than
He has been very
before.
clear about that. Joe Biden
Hold up.
is
Hold
the
up.
one who, during the Great Recession, was responsible for the Recovery Act that brought America back. And now the
What?
Trump
Yeah.
Pence administration wants to take credit when they rode the coattails.
Get the
of
fuck
Joe
outta
Biden's
here.
success
Oh
For the
man.
economy that they had at the beginning of their term. Of course, now the economy is a complete
I mean-
disaster. But Joe Biden, on the one hand, did that. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who has reigned over a recession that is being compared to the Great
There's so much I want to say
Depression.
right now, but
On
I'm
the
not gonna
one hand,
can't go
you
off
have
yet.
Joe Biden, who was responsible with President Barack Obama for the Affordable Care Act, which brought health care to over 20
'Cause it was
million
forced.
Americans and
Dude,
protected
I know, I
people with
wanted to, like,
pre-existing
respond, but
conditions. And what it also
He's
did
out-
is it saved
he's had to
those
do it.
families
Yeah.
who otherwise were
He's
going
pissed.
bankrupt because of hospital bills they could not afford. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who's in court right now, trying to get rid of.
Yo, she's getting mad
trying
time, I
to
ain't
get
gonna lie.
rid
Yeah,
of
this is crazy.
The Affordable
Yeah, she
Care
gets so
Act,
much
And she's
which
and they're not
means
like
that
stopping her.
You will lose protections if you have pre-existing conditions, and this is very important, Susan.
Yo.
And it's
But we
Yeah,
need to give,
what the
we
hell?
need to give Vice President.
I'd just like to. He
Damn, this is
interrupted
super
me,
biased.
And I'd like to just finish, please.
They're giving him mad time.
If
messed
you
up.
have a pre-existing condition, heart disease, diabetes, breast cancer, they're coming
Whoa.
for you. If you love someone who has a pre-existing condition,
Thank
they're
you, Senator
coming for
Harris.
you. If you are under the age of 26 on your
Wait.
parents' coverage, they're coming for you.
Wait,
Senator Harris,
isn't
thank
that
you.
Biden's
Let me
plan?
give
The
you a chance to
26 under
respond.
26.
Well, I hope we
You're
understand
covered
she's-
until under
she's
26.
saying that
Just
Trump
making
is
it
trying
worse.
to get rid of it.
Disaster. The American people remember it well. And President Trump and I have a plan to improve health care and to protect pre-existing conditions for every American. But look, Senator Harris, you're entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts. You yourself said on multiple occasions when you were running for president that you would ban fracking.
Here we go.
True.
Joe Biden looked at a supporter in the eye and pointed and said, I guarantee that we will abolish fossil fuels. They have a $2 trillion version of the Green New Deal, Susan, that your newspaper, USA Today, said really wasn't that very different from the original Green New Deal. More taxes, more regulation, banning fracking, abolishing fossil fuel, crushing American energy, and economic surrender to China is a prescription for economic decline. President Trump and I will keep America growing. The V-shaped recovery that's underway right now will continue with 4 more years of President Donald Trump. in the White House.
Thank you very, very much, Vice President Pence. Once again, you've provided the perfect segue to a new topic, which is
Here we
climate
go.
change. And Vice
he's
President
talking about
Pence,
fracking,
I'd
Well,
like to
so
pose
let's
the
well,
see
if
first
she loses this
to you.
question, that's sad.
This year, we've seen record-setting hurricanes in the south.
Yeah.
Another one, Hurricane Delta, is now threatening the Gulf. And we have seen record-setting wildfires in the west. Do you believe, as the scientific community has concluded, that man-made climate change has made wildfires bigger, hotter, and more deadly, and have made hurricanes wetter, slower, and more damaging? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Thank you, Susan. Well, first, I'm very proud of our record on the environment and on conservation. According to all of the best estimates, our air and land are cleaner than any time ever recorded. And our water is among the cleanest in the world.
Is that
and
true?
Just a little while ago,
How?
the president
How
signed
could
the
that possibly
Outdoors
be
Act. It's
true?
the
Like, is it
largest
cleaner now
investment
than
in
it was
our
before?
public lands and public parks
For
in 100
Before,
years.
I don't know.
So
He's just
the
saying
President
before.
Trump has
I don't
made
know
a
what the
commitment to
fact check is.
conservation
that's a
and the
fact check.
environment. Now, with regard to climate change, the climate is changing. But the issue is, what's the cause and what do we do about it? And President Trump has made it clear that we're going to continue to listen to the science. Now, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris would put us back in the Paris Climate Accord. They'd impose the
Which would be a
Green
good
New
thing
Deal,
if it was really the
which
Green
would
New Deal.
crush American energy.
If it was a real Green New
Deal.
Deal.
Costs of American families in their homes and literally would crush American jobs. And President Trump and I believe that the progress that we have made in a cleaner environment has been happening precisely because we have a strong free market economy. You know, what's remarkable is the United States has reduced CO2 more than the countries that are still in the Paris Climate Accord, but we've done it through innovation, and we've done it through natural gas and fracking, which, Senator, the American people can go look at the record. I know Joe Biden says otherwise now, as you do, but the both of you repeatedly committed to abolishing fossil fuel and banning fracking. And so by creating the kind of American innovation, we're actually steering
She should
toward a
be
stronger and
all
better
for
environment.
banning fracking
With
and all
regard to
that shit.
wildfires,
I don't know why she hasn't.
President
they're
Trump
bought
and I
by
believe
fucking
that forest
oil.
management has to be front and
It's like
center. And even
cringy.
It really
Governor
is.
Gavin Newsom from your state has agreed we've got to work on forest management. And with regard to hurricanes, the National Oceanic Administration tells us that actually as difficult
you.
as they are,
Thank you, Vice President.
there are no more hurricanes today than
Thank
there
you.
were 100 years ago.
Thank you.
But many of the climate alarmists
President Pence,
use
I'm sorry, your time
hurricanes.
is
Wildfires. Wildfires. Got
Bill
him.
of goods of a Green New Deal. And President Trump and I are going to always put
Thank you,
American
Vice
jobs and
President
American
Pence.
workers first.
Senator Harris, as the Vice President mentioned, you co-sponsored the Green New Deal in Congress. But Vice President Biden said in last week's debate that he does not support the Green New Deal.
It's not
But
good.
if you look at the Biden-Harris campaign website,
Yeah,
it
it's on the
describes the Green New
website.
Deal
I don't.
as a crucial framework. What exactly
Oh,
would be
here
the
we go.
stance of a Biden-Harris administration toward the Green New Deal?
Let's see this one.
You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Sure. So first of all, I will repeat, and the American people know, that Joe Biden will not ban fracking. That is a fact. That is a fact. I will repeat that Joe
Bro.
Biden has been very clear
guess-
Yo.
that he
I guess there's
thinks
no
about
urgency.
growing jobs, which is why he will not increase
All right.
taxes for anyone who makes less than
Very strange, okay.
$400,000 a year. Joe Biden's economic plan, Moody's, which is a reputable Wall Street firm,
Wall Street.
has said will create 7
That's
million
good.
more
Let's
jobs
listen to Wall
than
Street.
Donald Trump's. And part of those jobs that will be created by Joe Biden are going to be about clean energy and renewable energy. Because you see, Joe understands that the west coast of our country is burning, including my home state of California. Joe sees what is happening on the Gulf states, which are being battered by storms. Joe has seen and talked with the farmers in Iowa, whose entire crops have been destroyed because of floods. And so Joe believes, again, in science.
Then he
I'll
wouldn't
tell
be
you
for
something,
fracking.
Susan. I served when I first
Yeah.
got to the Senate
Yeah.
on the committee that's responsible for the environment. Do you know this administration took the word science off the website and then took the phrase climate change
Did it
off
really?
the website? We
can
have
see
seen
that.
a pattern
That's
with
probably
this
true.
administration.
I don't know
which
if
is
that's true,
they
but
don't believe
I
in
can see that being a
science.
thing.
And Joe's plan is about saying we're going to deal with it, but we're also going to create jobs. Donald Trump, when asked about the wildfires in California, and the question was, you know, the science is telling us this, you know what Donald Trump said? Science doesn't know.
Did he say that?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it was on
let's
said
video.
that?
talk about who
on
is
video.
prepared to lead our country over the course of the next 4 years on what is an existential threat to us as human beings. Joe is about saying we're going to invest that in renewable energy. It's going to be about the creation of millions of jobs. We will achieve net zero emissions.
How
are you gonna do that with fracking?
Carbon neutral by 2035. Joe has a plan. This has been a lot of talk from the
Yeah.
Trump administration.
How are you gonna do that with-
Really, it has been to go backward instead of forward. We will also re-enter the climate agreement with pride.
Yeah.
Senator Harris just
No
said
mention
that
of the Green
climate
New
change
Deal.
is an existential threat.
There's no reason to.
Vice President Pence, do you believe that climate change poses an existential threat?
As I said, Susan, the climate is changing. We'll follow the science. But once again, Senator Harris is denying the fact that they're going to raise taxes on every American. Joe Biden said twice in the debate last week that on day one he was going to repeal the
None of them have
tax
answered
cuts.
the fucking question.
Those tax cuts delivered $2,000 in tax relief to the average family of four across America. And with regard to banning fracking, I just recommend that people look at the record. You yourself said repeatedly that you would ban fracking.
I don't know why
You
this is
were
being
the
argued.
first Senate co-sponsor of the Green New
Just
Deal.
say, her
While
thing is
Joe
just
Biden
stay quiet.
denied the Green New
Let
Deal.
the moderator
Susan, thank you for
fix it.
pointing out.
Basically,
The Green New Deal is on their campaign website, and as USA Today said, it's essentially the same plan as you co-sponsored with AOC when she submitted it in the Senate. And you just heard the senator say that she's going to resubmit America to the Paris Climate Accord. Look, the American people have always cherished our environment. We'll continue to cherish it. We've made great progress reducing CO2 emissions through American innovation and the development of natural gas through fracking. We don't need a massive $2 trillion Green New Deal that would impose all new mandates on American businesses and American families.
Thank you.
Joe Biden wants us
Thank
to
you, Vice
retrofit
President Pence.
4 million
Thank you, Vice
American
President
business
Pence.
buildings. It makes no sense. It will cost jobs. President Trump
Thank
is
you,
going to
Vice
put
President
America
Pence.
first. He's going to put jobs first, and we're going to take care of our environment and follow the science.
Thank
But
you, Vice
you know,
President
on
Pence.
the issue of jobs,
Senator Harris.
let's talk about that. The vice president earlier referred to as part of what he thinks is an accomplishment.
I love how
the,
she
the
changed this
president's
topic.
trade war with China.
What?
You lost.
What is she
that
talking
trade
about?
War. You lost it. What
Trade
ended
war
up
with
happening
China?
is because of a so-called trade war with China, America lost 300,000 manufacturing jobs.
Wait, that's true.
Farmers have experienced bankruptcy because of it. We are in a manufacturing recession.
If that's true, then that shit during
because of
Obama
it.
was way worse because actually
And
there's
when
more
Yeah, what is she
manufacturing
talking? I don't know.
Where this
What is she talking about?
administration has been, there are estimates that by the end of the term of this administration, they will have lost more jobs than almost any other presidential administration.
But that's because of
And the American
coronavirus.
people
Yeah, I don't know.
what
I don't know what
talking
she's
about.
getting at here. This is
You
crazy.
know. I think about 20-year-olds. You know, we have a 20-year-old, a 20-something-year-old who are coming out of high school and college right now, and you're wondering, is there going to be a job there for me? We're looking at people who are trying to figure out how they're going to pay rent by the end of the month. Almost half of American renters are worried about whether they're going to be able to pay rent
Well, a
by
stimulus
the end
package
of the
would be
month.
nice.
Yeah.
This is where the economy is in America
Susie.
right now, and it is because of the catastrophe and the failure of leadership of this administration.
Thank you, Senator Harris.
That was a very
Vice
strange
President
question.
Pence, let me
I
give
mean,
you just
answer.
15
Very
seconds to
weird.
respond, because then I want to move on to
Well, I'd love to respond. Look, lost the trade war with China. Joe Biden never fought it. Joe Biden has been a cheerleader for communist China through over the last several decades. And again, Senator Harris, you're entitled to your opinion. You're not entitled to your own facts. When Joe Biden was vice president, we lost 200,000
Yeah,
manufacturing jobs. And President Obama said they were never coming back. He said we needed a magic wand to bring them back. In our first 3
Very
years
strange.
after we
Whoa.
cut taxes,
Thank you, Vice
rolled back
President.
Cut him off?
regulations,
All right.
invested in
She said
American
15
energy,
seconds.
You have a
this
2-second
administration
response.
saw
Go.
500,000
Thank you, Vice
manufacturing
President
jobs
Pence.
created. And that's exactly the kind
they're
of
both
growth
going
we're
over
going to
the time,
continue
though.
to
Yeah.
see as we bring our nation through
Thank you, Vice
this
President
pandemic.
Mr.
The Green New
Thank you,
Deal, your
Vice President
massive new
Pence.
mandates, your Paris Climate Accord, it's going to kill jobs this time, just like it killed jobs.
I'd like
Susan,
to-
I just need to respond very briefly,
15
please.
seconds, and
Thank
then
you.
we'll move on.
Thank you. Joe Biden is responsible for saving America's auto industry, and you voted against it. So let's set the record straight.
Damn.
Thank you.
You know, Bernie
I'd like
voted
to
against
talk
that
about
too.
China. We
Yeah, but
have, as
that
our
doesn't
next
equate to all the
topic,
manufacturing
we have
jobs
no
we
more
lost.
complicated
That's
or
not even on the same, like,
consequential
scale.
foreign
And I
relationship
think that was part of
than
the
one
package
with
of bailing out
China.
Wall Street.
It is a huge market for
think.
American agricultural goods. It's a potential partner in dealing with climate change in North Korea. And in a video tonight, President Trump again blamed it for the coronavirus, saying China will
What?
pay. Vice President
That's
Pence,
crazy.
how would you describe our fundamental relationship with China? Competitors, adversaries, enemies? You have
That's
2
a good
minutes.
question.
Thank you, Susan. Well, before I leave that, let me speak to voting records if I can. You know, everybody knows that NAFTA cost literally thousands of American factories to close. We saw automotive jobs go south of the border. President Trump fought to renegotiate NAFTA. And the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement is now the law of the land. American people deserve to know Senator Kamala Harris was one of only 10 members of the Senate to vote against the USMCA. It was a huge win for American auto workers. It was a huge win for American farmers, especially dairy in the upper Midwest. But Senator, you said it didn't go far enough on climate change, that you put your radical environmental agenda ahead of American auto workers and ahead of American jobs. I think the American people deserve to know that. It's probably why Newsweek magazine said that Kamala Harris was the most liberal member of the United States Senate in 2019. More liberal than Bernie Sanders.
They always bring Bernie up.
More liberal than any of the others.
Bernie's the OG.
Now, with regard to China, look, Susan, first and foremost, China is to blame for the coronavirus. And President Trump is not happy about it. He's made that very clear, made it clear again today. China and the World Health Organization did not play straight with the American people. They did not let our personnel into China to get information on the coronavirus until the middle of February. Fortunately, President Trump, in dealing with China from the outset of this administration, standing up to China that had been taking advantage of America for decades in the wake of Joe Biden's cheerleading for China, President Trump made
what does he mean when he says that?
Before the end of January to
cheerleading
suspend
for China.
all travel from
What are you referring to?
And again, the American people deserve to know Joe Biden opposed President
deals
Trump's
with China or
decision to
any
suspend
foreign
all
policy.
travel
I personally
from
think
China.
that
He said it was
is the craziest
hysterical.
thing.
He said it was
Thank you, Vice President
xenophobic.
The whole
Pence.
Biden
President
like
Trump has
Vice President
stood
Pence,
disagreeing
by
with
China
closing down the
and
country.
Continue to stand strong.
Thank you, Vice President Pence.
That's
We're
one
gonna
of
improve
the things I
relationship,
don't
but
like
we're
about
gonna
Biden.
level the playing field, and we're going to hold
Vice President
China
Pence.
accountable for what they did to America with the coronavirus.
Thank you. Senator Harris, let me ask you the same question that I asked the Vice President. How would you describe our fundamental relationship with China? Are we competitors, adversaries, enemies? You'll have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Susan, the Trump administration's perspective and approach to China has resulted in the loss of American lives, American jobs, and America's standing.
What is she talking about?
There's a weird obsession that President Trump has had with getting rid of whatever accomplishment was achieved by President Obama and Vice President Biden. For example, they created within the White House an office that basically was responsible for monitoring pandemics.
That's true.
They got rid of it.
He said
Not true.
There
He just said, shut up.
was a team of disease experts that President Obama and Vice President Biden dispatched to China to monitor what is now predictable and what might happen. They pulled them out. We now are looking at 210,000 Americans who have lost their lives. Let's look at the job situation. We mentioned before the trade deal, the trade war, they wanted to call it, with China. It resulted in the loss of over 300 manufacturing jobs and a manufacturing recession, and the American consumer paying thousands of dollars more.
Oh, the tariff, you mean?
Because of that failed.
Yeah, but that's like very helpful though.
Then let's talk about standing.
Like the tariff goes to like.
Can you make
A
Mike super small
reputable
for him?
Research
What?
firm has done an
His
analysis
notification.
that shows that leaders of all of our formerly allied countries have now decided that they hold in greater esteem and respect Xi Jinping, the head of the Chinese Communist Party, than they do Donald Trump, the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief of the United States.
If that's true, that's pretty funny.
This is where we are today because of a failure of leadership by this administration.
Senator Harris, we've seen changes in the role of the United States in terms of global leadership over the past 4 years. And of course, times do change. What's your definition? We've seen strains with China, of course, as the Vice President mentioned. We've seen strains with our traditional allies in NATO and elsewhere. What is your definition of the role of American leadership in 2020?
So, you know, Joe is, I love talking with Joe about a lot of these issues. And, you know, Joe, I think he said it quite well. He says, you know, foreign policy, it might sound complicated, but really it's relationships. So just think about it as relationships. And so we know this in our personal and professional relationships. You got to keep your word to your friends. Got to be loyal to your friends.
What the hell was the
People who stood
question?
with you,
I don't know.
I
gotta stand with them.
really forgot the
watching.
question just
You
because
gotta
of what she's
know who
saying.
your
Fucking boring.
adversaries are and keep them in check.
Wow.
But what
Well,
we've
kinda
seen
gross.
with Donald Trump
lost points there.
is that he has betrayed our
For the
friends
trending.
and
Twitter trending.
and embraced dictators around the world. Let's take, for example, Russia. So, Russia, I serve on the Intelligence Committee of the United States Senate. America's intelligence community told us Russia interfered in the election of the President of the United States in 2016 and is playing in 2020. Christopher Wray, the director of the FBI, said the same. But Donald Trump, the commander-in-chief of the United States of America, prefers to take the word of Vladimir Putin over the word of the American intelligence community.
What is she talking about?
You look at our friends at NATO. He has walked away from agreements. You can look at the Iran nuclear deal, which now has put us in a position
Oh, it's because he's not
where we
doing
are
this.
less
Yeah,
safe
he
because
automatically
they are
sides with
building up
Putin. That's what she's saying.
what might end up being a significant
guess.
nuclear
That's crazy.
arsenal. We were in that deal, guys. We were in the Iran nuclear deal with friends, with allies around the country. And because of Donald Trump's unilateral approach to foreign policy, coupled with his isolationism, he pulled us out and has made America less safe. So, Susan, it's about relationships.
What bothers,
And the
well, I
thing
guess
that has
what
always
should
been part
bother
of the
or is
strength
weird
of
about
our
NATO is
nation,
that
in addition to our great military,
U.S. pays like a
has been that
crazy
we
amount to
keep
be
our
in it,
word.
while
But
everyone else
Donald
pays
Trump
like
doesn't
under what
understand
they should
that.
be.
That
'cause
was the
he
whole
doesn't
issue
understand
with it.
what
Yeah.
it means to be honest.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Vice President Pence, let me give you a chance to respond.
Well, thank you. Well, President Trump kept his word when we moved the American embassy to Jerusalem, the capital of the state of Israel. When Joe Biden was vice president, they promised to do that, and they never did. We've stood strong with our allies, but we've been demanding. NATO is now contributing
got
more
Guy
to
on
our
the fact
common
check.
defense than ever before, thanks to
Guy's the
President
guardian angel
Trump's
right now.
leadership. We've
Yeah.
strengthened our alliances across the Asia-Pacific, and we've stood strong against those who would do us harm. You know, when President Trump came into office, ISIS had captured an area of the Middle East the size of Pennsylvania.
Don't worry about
But President Trump
Trump
unleashed the
met with
American military, and our armed forces destroyed the ISIS caliphate and took down their leader al-Baghdadi without one
Damn.
American casualty.
KD
Al-Baghdadi
ratio.
was
they-
responsible for the death of thousands. But notably, America's hearts today are with the family of Kayla Mueller, her parents of which are here with us
Yeah.
tonight in Salt Lake City.
Plugging that.
Today, two of the ISIS killers responsible for Kayla Mueller's murder were brought to justice in the United States. Jihadi John was killed on the battlefield along with the other beetle. The reality is that when Joe Biden was vice president, we had an opportunity to save Kayla Mueller. Breaks my heart to reflect on it, but the military came into the Oval Office, presented a plan. They said they knew where Kayla was. Baghdadi had held her for 18 months, abused her mercilessly before they killed her. But when Joe Biden was vice president, they hesitated for a month. And when armed forces finally went in, it was clear she'd been moved 2 days earlier. And her family says with a heart that broke the heart of every American that if President Donald Trump had been president, they believe Kayla would be alive today.
Thank you, Vice
Look, we
President.
destroyed the ISIS caliphate. And you talk about re-entering the Iran nuclear deal. I mean, the last administration transferred $1.8 billion to the leading state
That was
sponsor
pandering
Thank
right
you,
there.
Vice
of
President.
terrorism. President Donald Trump got us
I
out
mean,
of the deal.
Kamala's taking the cake right
And-
now for that,
and when
though.
Qasem
Throughout the whole
Soleimani was
debate.
traveling to Baghdad.
Thank you,
to
Vice
Yeah,
harm
I
to
agree with you there,
Americans,
100%.
President Donald Trump
But
took
Thank you,
him
Vice
out.
President Pence.
And America is safer. Our allies
Yeah, that's very
are safer,
strange.
And the American people know President Donald Trump will never
Thank you, Vice President
take
Pence.
action.
I would like to give Senator Harris
That's
a
it,
chance
go
to
in.
respond, but not at such great length because, of course, there
I
are
don't
other
get.
topics we
I
wanna
don't
talk about.
understand
I
this.
would like equal time.
Yes.
Question,
Thank you.
question,
Go ahead.
question.
Wait.
Respond.
First of all, to the Mueller family.
But they're not
I-
doing that with
I
every
know
question.
about your daughter's case, and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
You could hear it.
I can't.
Dude, this
what
guy's
happened
not
to
loud
her
for me.
is
Why isn't it loud for you?
awful, and it should have never happened. And I know Joe feels the same way. And I know that President Obama feels the same way. But you mentioned Soleimani. Let's start there. So after the strike on Soleimani, there was a counter strike.
How much time does she have to
on our
respond?
troops
Just
in
quick.
Iraq.
15 seconds.
It's been more than
Okay.
15 seconds.
And
I don't know, to be honest.
they suffered serious brain injuries. And do you know what Donald Trump dismissed them as? Headaches. And this is about a pattern of Donald Trump's, where he has referred to
been more
our
than
men
15.
who are serving in our military as suckers and losers. Donald Trump,
I think he did actually say
who went
that
to
once. which is crazy.
Arlington Cemetery and stood above the graves of our fallen heroes and said, what's in it for them? Because, of course, you know, he only thinks about what's in it for him. Let's take what he said about John McCain, a great American hero. And Donald Trump says he doesn't deserve to be called a hero because he was a prisoner of war. And this is very
say that.
important when you want to talk about who is the current commander-in-chief.
No, he didn't.
And what they care about and what they don't
No,
care
he
about.
did say that.
Yeah, he did.
But
Public reporting that Russia had bounties
This
on
is
the
proven.
heads
it was disproven.
of American soldiers.
100%.
And you know what a bounty is?
Like they came
It's
back with it.
Somebody
They
puts
were.
a price on your head
It
so
is
that
more
you
than
pay
15
it if you are
seconds.
killed.
Oh hell yeah!
And
Yeah, they're
Bro,
giving
it's
they're,
been
they're
like
giving
2
her
minutes
they're
or
giving her the whole
at
time.
least 6
Yeah.
times
And
to
they haven't even
Vladimir
tried to stop
Putin
her.
Honestly,
and
so
never brought
far,
up the subject.
the questions
Joe Biden would never
and the
do
me-
that.
the like
Joe
the demeanor
Biden
of
would-
the
but Joe
moderator is just
Biden
biased as hell.
would hold Russia to account
Towards
for any
Kamala.
threat to
Like,
our
she's been
nation's
talking for
security or to our troops
how long now?
who are
While.
sacrificing their
Yeah, I'm
lives
getting
for the
tired.
sake of our democracy and our safety.
Thank you, Senator Harris. This is such an important issue, but we have other important issues as well. And
Susan,
I want to make sure we have a chance
I really have
talk
to
about.
respond to that.
I'm-
Look, she has
15 seconds.
15
because
left.
Oh,
I'm
shit.
trying to
15.
keep-
Look,
Well, I'm sorry, but Vice President,
Look,
but you've
I-
had more time
Yeah,
than
'cause
she's
you let her,
had
dude.
so
Come on.
far.
slanders
Yeah, I don't
against
know about that.
President Donald Trump regarding
The
men
fact
and
check,
women
I
of our
like
armed
it.
Fact check, wait.
forces are absurd.
I'm sorry, Vice
My
President
son is
Pence.
a captain in the United
Yes.
States Marine Corps. My son-in-law is deployed in the United States Navy. I can assure
I think
all
we
of
agree.
you
Oh yeah, he did say it.
his
We know.
sons
Yeah,
and
we did-
daughters
we
serve
agreed
in
that
our
he said it.
military.
Yep.
President
Wait,
Donald Trump
what?
not only
What did I say?
respects but
He
reveres
says fake
all of
news.
those who serve in our armed forces, and any suggestion otherwise is ridiculous.
But
Let
thank
me
you,
also
Vice
say-
I don't
know
like.
what's up,
I
what's
hate
going
what they're
on.
doing here.
This is-
Vice
the American
President
people
Pence, I
deserve to
didn't,
know.
This
Vice
isn't
President
fair
Pence,
at
I
all.
did not, excuse
Susan,
me,
Susan,
I did not
Susan,
make the
no.
rules for tonight.
Joe Biden.
Your campaigns agreed to the rules for tonight's
I-
debate with the Commission on Presidential Debates.
You know-
I'm here
you
to
know what?
enforce them, which
Why don't they put
involves
the
moving
timer
from
on
one
top?
topic to another, giving
Because
roughly equal
from
time
my
to both
eyes,
of you.
she's
I
getting
just
way
want- I'm
more
trying
time with her
very hard to do
responses
Go right
So I
and
wanna
with
go
everything.
ahead and move to
Yeah.
the next topic, which is
Especially that last
an
one. That last one
important
was like, man.
as the last topic
Yeah, that
was,
last one was long
and
as
that
hell.
is
It's supposed to be
the
15
She read
Supreme
a
seconds.
Court.
book.
On Monday, the Senate Judiciary Committee is scheduled to open hearings on Amy Coney Barrett's nomination to the Supreme Court. Senator Harris, you'll be there as a member of the committee. Her confirmation would cement the court's conservative majority and make it likely open to more abortion restrictions, even to overturning the landmark Roe v. Wade ruling. Access to abortion would then be up to the states. Vice President Pence, you're the former governor of Indiana. If Roe v. Wade is overturned, what would you want Indiana to do? Would you want your home state to ban all abortions? You have 2 minutes, uninterrupted.
Well, thank you for the question, but I'll use a little bit of my time to respond to that very important issue before. The American people deserve to know Qasem Soleimani, the Iranian general, was responsible for the death of hundreds of American service members. When the opportunity came, we saw him headed to Baghdad to kill more Americans. President Trump didn't hesitate, and Qasem Soleimani is gone. But you deserve to know that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris actually criticized the decision to take out Qasem Soleimani. It's really inexplicable, but with regard to Joe Biden, it's explainable. Because history records that Joe Biden actually opposed the raid against Osama bin Laden. It's absolutely
that's true.
essential
Got to write it
that we
down.
have a commander-in-chief who will not hesitate to act to protect American lives and to protect American service members, and that's what you have in President Donald Trump. Now, with regard to the Supreme Court of the United States, let me say President Trump and I could not be more enthusiastic about the opportunity
No,
to
but the
see
question's
Judge
about
Amy Coney
abortion
Barrett
in your state.
become Justice Amy Coney Barrett. She's a brilliant woman, and she will bring a lifetime of experience and a sizable American family to the Supreme Court of the United States. And our hope is, in the hearing next week, unlike Justice Kavanaugh received with treatment from you and others, we hope she gets a fair hearing. And we particularly hope that we don't see the kind of attacks on her Christian faith that we saw before. I mean, the Democrat chairman of the Judiciary Committee before, when Judge Barrett was being confirmed for the Court of Appeals, expressed concern that the dogma of her faith lived loudly in her. Dick Durbin of Illinois said that it was a concern. Senator, I know one of our judicial nominees you actually attacked because they were a member of the Catholic Knights of Columbus, just because the Knights of Columbus holds pro-life views and
Thank you.
views.
Thank you, Vice President Pence.
So
Your
my
time
hope
is
is
up.
that when the hearing takes place, that
Thank you, Vice President Pence.
that Judge Amy Coney Barrett will be respected,
Thank you,
treated
Vice President
respectfully,
Pence.
voted and confirmed
No
by the
answer.
Supreme Court of the United
Yeah,
States.
you
Senator
wanna
Harris,
answer shit.
you're
Hard.
the senator
He didn't
from
answer the question,
former
and she didn't say
Attorney
answer the
General of
question.
California. So let me ask you a parallel
should've come up with
question
more.
to the one I posed
Yeah, do that.
to
You
the
gotta be
Vice
like, yo,
President.
the question was.
If
Answer
Roe
the
v. Wade
question.
is overturned, what would you want California to do? Would you want your home state to enact no restrictions on access to abortion? And you have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Thank you, Susan. First of all, Joe Biden and I are both people of faith, and it's insulting to suggest that we would knock anyone for their faith. And in fact, Joe, if elected, will be only the second practicing Catholic as President of the United States.
Did he
On
say
the
that?
issue of this,
Did she
of this
say that about the Knights
nomination,
of?
Joe and I are very clear, as are the majority of the American people. We are 27 days before the decision about who will be the next president of the United States. And, you know, before, when this conversation has come up, you know, it's been about election year or election time. We're literally in an election. Over 4 million people have voted. People
What
are
does it have
in
to do
the
with
process
anything?
of voting
Where's she
right
going with
now.
this?
And so Joe has been very clear, as the American people are. Let the American people fill that seat in the White House, and then we'll fill that
Yo,
seat
that's
on the United
bullshit.
States Supreme
Because
Court.
they
And
would
to
do
your
the same
point, Susan,
shit if
issue
the
of
the roles were
choice
reversed.
is
I
more
hate that. I
serious.
hate
There's
that.
the issue of choice.
That pisses me off.
And I will always fight
'Cause
for
they,
a woman's
like-
right to make a
Alright, there-
decision
it's
about her
obvious.
own
She's
body.
answering.
It should
No,
be
no, no,
her
no.
decision
You can hear
and
it.
not that of Donald Trump and
can't.
Vice President Michael Pence. But let's also
headphones
look at
suck.
what else is before the
Change the
the
headphones.
court. It's the Affordable Care Act. Like,
I'll get new headphones.
literally in the midst of a public health pandemic, when over 210,000 people have died and 7 million people probably have what will be in the future considered a pre-existing condition because you contracted the virus.
A pre-existing condition in the
Donald
future if
Trump
you
is
got
in
corona?
court right now
That's
trying
what
to
you
get
said?
rid of the Affordable Care Act.
Because
And I
it
said
has
it before, and it bears
lasting, I
repeating.
guess.
Yeah, but that's a
This
very small
means
percentage of people.
Yeah,
That
but he
there
says
will be no
they
more
they should be considered
protections
people
if
that
they
have a
win
pre-existing
for
condition.
people with pre-existing
If they end up
conditions.
with-
Cut that shit off.
This means
You're timing it?
that over 20 million
Nice.
people will lose your coverage.
We
It
should take
means that
bets
if
on how
you're
long that
under
shit
the age
goes.
of 26, you can't stay on your parents' coverage anymore. And here's the thing. The contrast couldn't be more clear. They're trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act.
And
Joe
she gave her
Biden is saying,
$2.15.
Let's expand
Okay.
coverage. Let's give you a choice of a public option or private coverage. Let's bring down premiums.
Senator.
Let's
Oh, so
lower
then it's more
Medicare
than-
eligibility to
But she's
60.
still going.
Thank you, Senator.
That's true leadership.
You know, you mentioned earlier, Vice President Pence, that the president was committed to maintaining protections for people with pre-existing conditions. But you do have this court case that you are supporting, your administration supporting, that would strike down the Affordable Care Act. The president says, President Trump says that he's going to protect people with pre-existing conditions, but he has not explained how he would do that. And that was one of the toughest nuts to crack when they were passing the Affordable Care Act. So tell us specifically, how would your administration
That's a good question.
protect
Very good
Americans
question.
with pre-existing conditions
Come on,
and
gonna
answer it.
access to affordable insurance
Well, you
if
better
the
answer it.
Affordable Care Act is struck down?
Well, thank you, Susan. But let me just say, addressing your very
You're not
first
gonna
question,
answer it.
I couldn't be more proud to serve as vice president to a president who stands without apology for the sanctity of human life. I'm pro-life. I don't apologize for it. And this is another one of those cases where there's such a dramatic contrast. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris support taxpayer funding of abortion all the way up to the moment of birth. Late-term abortion. They want to increase funding to Planned Parenthood of America. Now, for our part, I would never
They should ask her, like, what is your definition of abortion? Like, what are you going to do? What do you consider abortion?
They don't have time for that.
We'll continue to
But
stand
that's what
strong for the right
we
to
need the
life.
answers to.
When you speak about the Supreme Court, though, I think the American people really deserve an answer, Senator Harris. Are you and Joe Biden going to pack the court?
He's not answering the
if
healthcare
Judge Amy
question.
Coney Barrett is confirmed.
Yeah,
We've had 29 vacancies
You
on
lost
the
points
Supreme
there.
Court during presidential election years, from George Washington to Barack Obama. Presidents have nominated in all 29 cases. But your party is actually openly advocating adding seats to the Supreme Court, which has had 9 seats for 150 years, if you don't get your way. This is a classic case of if you can't win by the rules, you're going to change the rules. Now, you've refused to answer the question. Joe Biden has refused to answer the question. So I think the American people would really like to
I do want to know the answer to
if
this, but
Judge Amy
I want to know the answer to the
Coney
healthcare
Barrett is
question
confirmed at the
that he
Supreme
didn't
Court
answer.
of the United States.
Pretty
Are
dumb
you and
deflect.
Joe Biden, if somehow you win this election, going to pack the Supreme Court to get your way?
I'm so glad we went through a little history lesson. Let's do that a little more. In
That was
1860,
gross.
Answer the question.
this is the Vice President I'm speaking. I'm speaking.
Oh, she sucks. Oh man.
In
Oh, she
1866
How much time
sucks.
did he go?
One of the, I think, political heroes, certainly
She better
the
answer the
president,
question,
I
then.
assume if you also, Mr. Vice President, is Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was up for re-election, and it was 27 days before the election, and a seat became open on the United States Supreme Court. Abraham Lincoln's party was in charge not only of the White House, but the Senate. But Honest Abe said,
Oh my God.
"Nothing to do. The American
Relax.
people
Oh
deserve
man.
to make the
This is pretty
decision
bad,
This
not
is
gonna lie.
so
about
bad.
who will be the next president of the United States, and then that person can select who will
These
serve
people
for a
know that they
lifetime
do it. Like
on the highest court
everyone knows they would
of
do it.
our land.
Well,
And so Joe and I are very clear.
I mean, we should
The
probably look at the
American
times
people
the
are
opposite happened, where it
voting
was
right
open and
now,
they did fill it
and
before
it should be
the term ended,
their decision
and see what happens when
about
has
who
happened
will
more. Because I
Right there.
guarantee it.
serve on
Write it
this
down.
most important
That
How
shit
many
has happened
times did-
more.
for a lifetime.
Do they wait for the next
Thank
party
you.
to take it?
And
Senator
the
Harris.
people, Susan, are voting right now. They'd like to know if you and Joe Biden are going to pack the Supreme Court
This is a kind
if you
of
don't
dumb
get your
call
way in
out.
this nomination.
It's stupid because he's not answering the healthcare question.
Well, yeah, it's
Non-answer.
but it's a
Joe
stupid
Biden
question.
gave
Like,
non-answer.
No, it's kind
Answer
of serious because they're going to
People
change
get a straight
basically how many
answer.
Supreme
And if
Courts
you haven't figured it
are
out
in
yet, the
the,
straight answer is they are going
gonna
to
add
pack
people.
the Supreme Court.
and
if
then
they
put
somehow win
more
this election.
liberals.
All right, I want to know what
Men
the
and
answer.
women, I gotta tell
He
you,
didn't
people
get there
across
yet.
this country, if you cherish our Supreme Court, if you cherish the separation of powers, you need to reject the Biden-Harris
Yo.
ticket. Come November the 3rd, re-elect President Donald Trump. and
She
we'll
didn't-
stand
she
by
didn't
the
answer that,
separation
and that was
of powers
bad.
in a 9-seat Supreme Court.
Yeah, let's talk about packing the court then. Let's talk about.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah,
She's gonna answer.
I'm about to. So, the Trump-Pence administration has been, because I sit on the Senate Judiciary Committee, Susan, as you mentioned, and I've witnessed the appointments for lifetime appointments to the federal courts, district courts, courts of appeal. People who are purely ideological, people who have been reviewed by legal professional organizations and found to have been not competent, are substandard. And do you know
She's not
that
answering
of
the question, dude.
50 people who President Trump appointed to the Court of Appeals for lifetime appointments, not
Oh
one is
God.
This is
Oh
what-
no.
Wanna talk
Damn,
about
that-
Yo,
packing
she
the
went
court?
there.
Let's
Not
have
gonna lie, that was a
discussion.
curveball.
Damn.
All right, thank you, Senator.
man.
Let's go on and talk about the issue of racial justice.
I just want the record to reflect she never answered
Fair
the
enough,
question.
but
That's a point
But
there.
America,
Thank
maybe
you.
the
But
next
he didn't
debate,
answer the question
Joe
either.
Biden will answer the question.
Thank you.
Nobody's
I think
answering
the
His was
American people know
big.
the answer.
Thank you, Vice
Yo,
President.
she tried to deflect hard as hell with that.
In March,
Yeah.
Breonna
Yeah, it
Taylor,
was
a
kinda gross.
26-year-old emergency
it
room
was pretty
technician in
gross.
Louisville, was shot and killed after police officers executing a search warrant in a narcotics investigation broke into her apartment. The police said they identified themselves. Taylor's boyfriend said he didn't hear them do that. He used a gun registered to him to fire a shot, which wounded an officer. The officers then fired more than 20 rounds
That's
into
crazy.
the
They never
apartment.
say
They say
how
they
many
were
the
acting
boyfriend
in
shot.
self-defense.
They don't say that.
None of them have
I
been
couldn't
indicted
find
did
in
he shoot?
connection
All right,
with
well,
the
he had a
crime.
handgun, so less than
Senator
20.
Harris, in the case of Breonna Taylor,
But he still shot back, right?
was justice done?
Well, if he shot, it all
He
depends
shot
if he
first.
shot
Alright,
first.
Well,
I don't believe so, and I've
She's
talked
not gonna answer the
with
question, Dennis.
Brianna's mother, Tamika Palmer,
I want to hear what she has to say.
and her family.
Do you really?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
her family.
watch it
deserves
here.
justice.
Whether it's
She's
an
a
answer or
beautiful
not, I
young
want to hear
woman.
what she says.
Okay.
She had as her life goal to become a nurse, and she wanted to become an EMT to first learn what's going on out on the street, so she could then become a nurse and save lives. And her life was taken unjustifiably and tragically and violently. And it brings me to, you know, the 8 minutes and 46 seconds that America witnessed, during which an American man
Talking about George Floyd.
was tortured and killed under the knee of an armed, uniformed police officer. And people around our country of every race, of every age, of every gender, perfect strangers to each other, marched shoulder to shoulder, arm in arm, fighting for us to finally achieve that ideal of equal justice under law. And I was a part of those peaceful protests. And I believe strongly that, first of all, we are never going to condone violence, but we always must fight for the values that we hold dear, including the fight to achieve our ideals. And that's why Joe Biden and I have said on this subject, look, and I'm a former career prosecutor. I know what I'm talking about. Bad cops are bad for good cops.
Is she referring to herself?
We need reform of our policing in America and our criminal justice system, which is why Joe and I will immediately ban chokeholds and carotid holds. George Floyd would be alive today if we did that. We will require a national registry for police officers who break the law. We will, on the issue of criminal justice reform, get rid of private prisons and cash bail, and
Thank
we
you.
will decriminalize marijuana, and
Thank you, Senator Harris.
we will expunge the records of those who
I mean,
have
okay,
been
that's good.
convicted
I'll take
of
those last
marijuana.
two.
The last-
This is
Thank
the
you,
time
Senator
for
Harris.
leadership
The last 15
on
seconds.
the tragic issue
Senator Harris,
of
your time
unarmed
is up.
black people in America who
Thank
are
you, Senator
Pence.
Harris. Vice President Pence, let me pose the same question to you. In the case of Breonna Taylor, was justice done?
Oh, that was a
You
question.
have
Yeah,
2
she didn't answer
minutes
the question.
uninterrupted.
Let's see.
Well, our heart breaks for the loss of any innocent American life. And the family of Breonna Taylor has our sympathies.
But
But I trust our justice system, a grand jury that refused the evidence. And it really is remarkable that as a former prosecutor, you would assume that an impaneled grand jury looking at all the evidence got it wrong. But you're entitled to your opinion, Senator. I think, look, and with regard to George Floyd, there's no excuse for what happened to George Floyd. And justice will be served. But there's also no excuse for the rioting and looting that followed. I mean, it really is astonishing. Flora Westbrook is with us here tonight in Salt Lake City. Just a few weeks ago, I stood at what used to be her salon. Was burned to the ground
He's answering the
by
question. I know, by the way.
rioters and
He
looters.
kind of did.
And
He answered
Flora
it more
is
than
still
her.
trying
Yeah,
to put her
but-
life back together. And I must tell you, this presumption that you hear
Well, no,
consistently
he did it in a way of taking a
from Joe
jab at
Biden
her
and
by
Kamala
saying
Harris.
she's doubting the grand jury.
that
Oh,
that
okay.
America
I
is
can see that, but-
systemically
Yeah,
racist,
it's not strong, but
and that, as Joe Biden said, that he believes that law enforcement has an implicit bias against minorities, is a great.
Oh, you gotta
insult
fly.
to
No.
men and women
No.
in law enforcement. And I want everyone to know
That's-
who
that-
puts on
that's
the
the
uniform
clickbait
of
right
law
there.
enforcement every
That's the
day.
clickbait.
She's gonna go like,
President Trump and I
got
will
some shit
stand
on you.
with you. And it is remarkable
Yikes.
that when Senator Tim
Fucking
Scott
yikes.
tried
And
to
it
pass a
disappeared into
police
his hair.
reform bill,
no, it's there.
brought together a group of
Dude, his
Republicans
brain's
and
not moving.
Democrats, Senator
that's
Harris,
very
the fly straight up died
you
on
got
his
up and
head,
walked
dude.
out
Yeah.
of the room. And then you filibustered Senator
Dude, get that shit
Tim
off your
Scott's
head.
bill on the Senate floor that would have provided new accountability, new resources.
that
But we
sucks
don't
for
have
him,
to
This
man.
choose
is the
Yeah,
part
because
that
they're not gonna focus on what he's
everyone's
talking
gonna
about. They're just
remember.
gonna.
improving public safety and supporting our African American
Jesus.
Thank you,
neighbors
Vice
and
President.
all of our
No.
minorities. Under President Trump's leadership,
Thank you,
we'll
Vice President.
always stand with law enforcement and we'll do.
Well,
what we
How could
do.
you say that?
Well-
that
Well,
that
he.
Improves
I
the
mean, this
lives
was
of
good that
African
he.
Americans,
Thank you, Vice
record
President.
He's saying where he stands at
record
least.
investments in
That's your
education,
time.
She didn't
and
say
fight
which.
for school choice
She
for
said
all
what
of
she
our
would do,
members.
which was good, but she didn't say where she stands.
Senator Harris.
I will not sit here and be lectured by the vice president on what it means to enforce the laws of our country. I am the only one on this stage who has personally prosecuted everything from child sexual assault to homicide. I'm the only one on this stage who has prosecuted the big banks for taking advantage of America's homeowners. I'm the only one on this stage who prosecuted for-profit colleges for taking advantage of our veterans.
This is
And
bad.
the reality of this is that we are talking about an election in 27 days, where last week the President of the United States took a debate stage in front of 70 million Americans and refused to condemn white supremacists.
Not true.
And
Not true.
it wasn't like he didn't have a chance.
I mean,
He didn't do it.
she's
and then
right,
he doubled
but he's
down.
also condemned it about
And
50
then
times
he
before
said,
this.
He
when
condemned it the
Pence
next
Like
day.
saying, I condemn white.
stand back.
If he did it in front of everyone,
Stand
it would have been
by.
He did do it in front of everyone
And
many
national
times.
TV.
This
National
is a
TV,
part
many
of a
times.
Think
pattern
of how many viewers
of
are
Donald
watching the
Trump's.
debate compared to whenever he
You-
said
Yeah,
it.
he's
was-
he's
called
stupid.
Mexicans
I think it's gone.
rapists and
Oh, it's gone?
criminals.
I don't
He
know.
No, it's still there.
instituted as
In
his
first
brain.
act a
He did do
Muslim
that,
ban.
that's true.
He,
We
on
can't
the
forget
issue
that.
of
The
Charlottesville,
Muslim ban, that was
Oh, it
crazy.
is gone. Yeah.
where
The Muslim
people
ban
were
was shit.
Yeah, it's
peacefully
fucking crazy. And-
protesting.
I mean, it was
The
dumb.
need for racial justice, where a young woman was killed, and on the other side there were neo-Nazis carrying tiki torches, shouting racial epithets, anti-Semitic
This world's
slurs.
fucked.
And Donald Trump, when asked about it, said, there were
You know what
fine
sucks
people
about her?
on both
She like
sides.
comes off
This is who we have as the
like she's
president of the
acting
United States. And
when she
America,
speaks.
you deserve better. Joe Biden will be a president who brings our country together
Senator Harris.
and
It
recognizes
sucks because this
the
guy
beauty in our
has so much
diversity.
ammo and
and
She'll
the
get
fact
points
that
for
we
this
all
one,
have
though.
so much
She'll
more
get
in
points for that
common
because
than
he
what
didn't-
separates us.
Vice President Pence, let me give
Alright,
you
let's see.
a minute
Well,
to
so
respond.
this is his
Thank
moment
you,
right here.
Susan. I appreciate that very much.
I want to hear what he has to say.
You know, I think this is one of the things that makes people dislike the media so much in this country, Susan, is that you selectively edit, just like Senator Harris did, comments that President Trump and I and others on our side of the aisle make. I mean, Senator Harris conveniently omitted, after the president made comments about people on either side of the debate over monuments, he condemned the KKK, neo-Nazis, and white supremacists, and has done so repeatedly. You're concerned that he doesn't condemn neo-Nazis. President Trump has Jewish grandchildren. His daughter and son-in-law are Jewish. This is a president who respects and cherishes all of the American people. But you talk about having personal.
Oh,
attachment to
shit.
it. I'm glad you brought up your record, Senator.
Thank you.
But I really need to make this point. When you were DA
Oh shit.
in San Francisco, when you left office, African Americans were 19 times more likely to be prosecuted for minor drug offenses than whites and Hispanics. When you were Attorney General,
Come
of
on,
California,
man.
you
No.
increased
Talk over the moderator.
the disproportionate
let- just keep-
incarceration of
Thank
blacks
you.
in California.
She's shook.
You did nothing on criminal
Damn.
justice reform in California. You didn't lift a finger to
you.
pass the First Step Act on Capitol Hill. I mean, the reality is your record
Thank
speaks
you,
for
Vice
itself.
President
President
Pence.
Trump and I have fought for criminal justice reform.
Thank you, Vice President
We've fought for
Pence.
educational choice and opportunities for African Americans, all of our
Thank you,
minorities.
sir.
And we'll do it for
Okay.
40.
Thank you. You know, there is no
It's
more
kinda smart 'cause
important
you can't
issue
answer
than
back
the
'cause they're
final
switching
issue that we're
topics.
going to talk about tonight, and that is the issue of the election
But
itself.
he attacked my record.
Yo.
I would like an opportunity to respond.
I'll
Dirty.
give you 30
Yo.
seconds because we're running
It's like
out
let's
of
shut
time.
him up
shit.
and then let's.
30
Damn.
seconds.
First of all,
All right.
having served as the Attorney General of the state of California, the work that I did is a model of what our nation
We're
needs
going
to
off.
do,
I'm going off
and we will
on
be
the
able
post
to
debate.
do under
Going off.
a Joe Biden presidency. Our,
She got 15
agenda
seconds left.
includes
I'm
what
not- I'm gonna
this
have more than 15
administration has failed to do. It will be about not only instituting a ban on chokeholds and carotid holes.
Thank you.
Not only,
She got
Thank
20
you, Senator
seconds.
I would like to go through,
These are points that you made earlier in the hour, and I want to
All
talk
right, it's
about
been
the
30
election
seconds.
itself before we have to.
but I want to talk about the connection between what Joe and I will do and my record, which includes I was the first statewide officer to institute a requirement that my agents would wear body cameras and keep them on full time. We were the first to initiate a requirement that there would be a training for law enforcement on implicit bias because, yes, Joe Biden and I recognize
What do we
that
have, 50
implicit
seconds?
bias does exist, Mr. Vice President, contrary to what you may believe. We did the work of instituting reforms that were about investing in reentry. This is the work that we have done and the work we will do going forward. And again, I will not be lectured by the Vice President
Yo, that's crazy.
on our record of what we have done in terms of law enforcement and keeping our communities safe and a commitment to reforming the criminal justice
115
system
that
of
was.
America.
Wow.
Thank you,
Literally
Senator
double.
Harris. And I'd like to pose the first, I'd like you to respond first to the question on our final topic, the election itself.
What time is
President
it?
Trump has several times refused to commit himself to a
10:23.
peaceful transfer of power after the election. If your ticket wins and President Trump refuses to accept a peaceful transfer of power, what steps would you and Vice President Biden then take? What would happen next? You have 2 minutes.
So I'll tell you, Joe and I are, I think, particularly proud of the coalition that we've built around our campaign. We probably have one of the broadest coalitions of folks that you've ever seen in a presidential race. Of course, we have the support of Democrats, but also independents and Republicans. In fact, 7 members of President George W. Bush's
That's
cabinet
not an endorsement.
that's not-
supporting
That's
our
really
ticket.
bad.
And that's not something to be proud
We
of.
have the support of Colin Powell, Cindy McCain, John Kasich,
John
over
fucking Kasich.
500 generals, retired generals, and former national security experts and advisors are supporting our campaign. And I believe they are doing that because they know that Joe Biden
What
has
is that in the
a
background?
deep,
someone
deep-seated
sneezing.
commitment to fight for our democracy and to fight for the integrity of our democracy and to bring integrity back to the White House. And so we believe in the American people. We believe in our democracy. And here's what I'd like to say to everybody. Vote.
Vote.
Please vote. Vote early. Come up with a plan to vote. Go to iwillvote.com. You can
There
also
you
go
go.
to joebiden.com. We have
hate
it
when they
within
say,
our power
like,
in these next
vote.
27 days to make the decision about what will be the course of our country for the next 4 years. And it is within our power, and if we use our vote and we use our voice, we will win. And we will not let anyone subvert our democracy with what Donald Trump has been doing, as he did on the debate stage last week, when again in front of 70 million people, he openly attempted to suppress
What?
the vote.
What is he talking about?
Joe Biden, on the
Well-
other hand, on that same debate stage, because clearly Donald Trump doesn't think he can run on a record because it's a failed record, Joe Biden on that stage said, hey, just please vote. So
Oh.
I'll repeat what Joe said.
Trump's
Please
saying
vote.
to not
Thank
vote
you,
by mail is a way of
Senator. Vice
suppressing
President
votes.
Pence, President Trump has several times
Just vote in
refused to
person
commit
then.
himself to a peaceful transfer of power after the election. If Vice President Biden is declared the winner and President Trump refuses to accept a peaceful transfer of power, what would be your role and responsibility
That
as
guy
Vice
gets
President?
taken out
What
by the
would you
military. They go and they take him out.
personally do?
Like,
You
what do you
have
think's
2
gonna
minutes.
happen?
Well, Susan, first and foremost, I think we're going to win this election. Because while Joe Biden and Kamala Harris rattle off a long litany of the establishment in Washington, D.C., an establishment that Joe Biden's been a part of for 47 years, President Donald Trump has launched a movement of everyday Americans from every walk of life. And I have every confidence that those same Americans that delivered that historic victory in 2016, they see this president's record where we rebuild our military, we revived our economy through tax cuts and rolling back regulation, fighting for fair trade, unleashing American energy. We appointed conservatives to our federal courts at every level. And we stood with the men and women of law enforcement every single day. And I think that movement of Americans has only grown stronger in the last 4 years. But when you talk about accepting the outcome of the election, I must tell you, Senator, your party has spent the last 3.5 years trying to overturn the results of the last election. It's amazing. When Joe Biden was vice president of the United States, the FBI actually spied on President Trump and my campaign. I mean, there were documents
did you
released
look
this
into
week
that?
the
It's
CIA
insane.
actually made
Was
a
it
referral,
Obamagate shit?
Yeah.
to
There's
the
just it's just
FBI
like some
documenting
documents
that
got released.
those allegations were coming from the Hillary Clinton campaign. And of course, we've all seen the avalanche, what you put the country through for the better part of 3 years until it was found that there was no obstruction, no collusion, case closed. And then Senator Harris, you and your colleagues in the Congress tried to impeach the President of the United States over a phone call. And now Hillary Clinton has actually said to Joe Biden that in her words, under no circumstances should he concede the election. So let me just say, I think we're going to win this election. President Trump and I are fighting every day in courthouses to prevent Joe Biden and Kamala Harris from changing the rules and creating this universal mail-in voting that'll create a massive opportunity for voter fraud. And we have a free and fair election. We know we're going to have confidence in it. And I believe in all my heart that President Donald Trump's going to be reelected for 4 more years.
You know, I've written all the questions that I've asked tonight, but for the final question of the debate, I'd like to read a question that someone else wrote. The Utah Debate Commission asked students in the state to write essays about what they would like to ask you. And I want to close tonight's debate with the question posed by Brecklin Brown. She's an 8th grader at Springville Junior High in Springville, Utah. And here's what she wrote, quote, "When I watch the news, all I see is arguing
We'll answer
between
that question once
Democrats
this
and
debate
Republicans.
ends.
When I watch the
Fragile
news,
Maddox.
all I see is citizen fighting against citizen. When I watch the news, all I see are 2 candidates from opposing parties trying to tear each other down. If our leaders can't get along, how are the citizens supposed to get along?" And then she added, "Your examples could make all the difference to bring us together," end quote. So to each of you in turn, I'd like you to take 1
Closing
minute
statements.
and respond to Brecklin. Vice President Pence, you have 1 minute.
Brecklin, it's a wonderful question. And let me just commend you for taking an interest in public life. I started following the news when I was very young. And in America, we believe in a free and open exchange of debate. And we celebrate that. And it's how we've created literally the freest and most prosperous nation in the history of the world. But I would tell you that don't assume that what you're seeing on your local news networks is synonymous with the American people. You know, I look at the relationship between Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the late justice who we just lost from the Supreme Court, and the late Justice Antonin Scalia. They were on polar opposites on the Supreme Court of the United States, one very liberal, one very conservative. But what's been learned since her passing was the 2 of them and their families were the very closest of friends. I mean, here in America, we can disagree. We can debate vigorously, as Senator Harris and I have on this stage tonight. But when the debate is over, we come together as Americans. And that's what people do in big cities and small towns all across this country. So I just want to encourage you, Brecklin. I want to tell you that we're going to work every day to have government as good as our people. And the American people each and every day love a good debate. We love a good argument. But we always come together and are always there for one another in times of need. And we've especially learned that through the difficulties of this year.
Senator Harris, what would you say to Brecklin?
That was a beast.
First of all,
Yo, that was
I love hearing from our young leaders. And when I hear her words, when I hear your words, Brecklin, I know our future is bright because it is that perspective on who we are and who we should be. That is a sign of leadership and is something we should all aspire to be. And that, that brings me to Joe. Joe Biden, one of the reasons that Joe decided to run for president is after Charlottesville, which we talked about earlier. It so troubled him and upset him like it did all of us, that there was that kind of hate and division. What propelled Joe to run for president was to see that over the course of the last 4 years, what Brecklin described has been happening. Joe has a long-standing reputation of working across the aisle and working in a bipartisan way. And that's what he's going to do as president. Joe Biden has a history of lifting people up and fighting for their dignity. You have to know Joe's story to know that Joe has known pain, he has known suffering, and he has known love. And so, Brecklin, when you think about the future, I do believe the future is bright. And it will be because of your leadership, and it will be because we fight for each person's voice through their vote, and we get engaged in this election because you have the ability through your work and through eventually your vote to determine the future of our country and what its leadership looks like.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Thank you, Vice President Pence. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. We want to thank also the University of Utah for its hospitality And most of all, our thanks to all the
Shut that
Americans
shit
who watched
down,
this debate
son.
tonight.
But
Again, our best wishes for a quick recovery to President Trump,
do your thing.
the First Lady, and everyone.
All right. Before we're gonna take a 10-minute break and break this whole thing down, but we got a question here. So,
what
from
is this?
Fragile Maddox, who do you all support?
In terms of
I'm assuming he's
like
referring to
overall
like who
or
we're
just
voting
these
for.
two?
Well,
I mean, I'll straight up say I don't support either of them.
Yeah, well, between these two, yeah.
Between these two, I don't support either
Man.
of them. I support myself.
Angela Walker, baby.
I don't know, man.
That's like a horrible answer. None of them, but it's kind of
Yeah,
true.
man,
Yeah, I
I
don't
like-
support any of them.
I really wish I could give you an answer to that, but
yeah, like
but this sucks. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody on the stage.
yeah, like, you know,
Yeah, we can go deeper into that.
Yeah.
We're gonna take a 10-minute break here, and then we'll break this whole thing down
Sorry, brother. We ain't got a straight answer for you on this one.
the best we possibly could, I guess.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
All right.
We'll be right back.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, we're back.
We back, son. And there's a fucking naked man on the TV.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, put that in the corner up there.
Yeah.
All right.
So breakdown of this whole.
This debate was there was a lot more said in this debate. It was a way better of a debate. They both held their own, honestly. I think they both held their own. I think Pence was a little more surprising in the way he was answering, because I honestly went into this thinking that Kamala was just going to, like, out-fact him in everything and just throw stats up. I know this is kind of of a hard one. I don't know. I can't really say, like, who won and who lost. Because the thing is, Kamala had a lot of, like, gotcha type answers, I guess. I don't know how to really explain this. Like, her answers were, for a lot of them, were basically, like, she started talking about, like, how she felt or the feelings around, kind of like what Joe Biden was doing at the other debate, and she kind of lost points there. They both didn't answer a lot of questions. Both of I think Pence wins the closing statement. Not by much. I mean, it wasn't the greatest closing statement ever, but I think he beats Kamala there. But I don't know. It goes back and forth. Kamala beat him in certain things, and then Pence beat her in certain things.
Yeah, both of them definitely had moments. I think what was annoying is the way they structured it. Because, like, they made the structure where it's like, okay, you get one question, and then we go back and forth. But it kind of just got into a jumbled mess of you get one question, then you get another question, then you get another question, then back and forth, respond, you get one question, back and forth. And then it's just like, it just got very messy where, like, I felt like on top of them already, like, going through 50 topics in one answer, like, we never really got a lot of moments where they were going,
and they would, they would get a response. Yeah.
Into different things they would present to each other.
It seemed to me, and I guess this is more like for Pence, I guess. I felt like this was extremely biased towards Kamala and Democrats. This whole like the fact that, like, they would. Well, I don't want to say the fact, but from my observation, it seemed like Kamala was getting way more time with a lot of her responses and answers. And a lot of the questions seemed very, like, against Trump, against Republicans. Like, there wasn't really, like, she asked a few neutral questions, but a lot of them seemed more ill like, toward Republicans. So I felt like they kind of should have, like, did more, like, all right, so you said you're going to do this, how are you going to do this, to the Democrats?
Well, they should have just put one topic, like, okay, what is your plan for COVID going forward? Pence, you say your thing. Kamala, you say your thing. And then, open discussion.
Yeah.
Instead of having two different questions and then kind of going off of that.
Yeah.
I think that would make it a lot easier. But, I mean, I do think, like, both of them had moments. Both of them had good jabs.
Yes.
And then both of them had fucking gross moments, like Kamala when she was talking about, almost like she was talking to us like we were little kids.
That was, yeah.
Where, what the fuck was that shit? Foreign policy isn't hard. It's just, friends and relationships.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was
crazy.
Gross.
And then Pence, and this is probably not his fault, but the fucking fly, man. That she was so
the fly in his
distracted.
head, the fly in his head definitely took points away from him. That shit was
I'm
so
sorry,
funny.
Man, that's the rule. Like, and they didn't tell
and
him.
they didn't say anything. It was literally there for like 5 minutes.
Man.
That was crazy.
For all we know, they probably had like a little cage and a fly, and they just like attack. But yeah,
it's like a fucking it's like a drone fly. They're like they landed on his head.
Can you imagine? Do you think like as soon as he finished, like fucking, he gets a text like, "Yo, there was a fly."
Yeah,
here for, like,
his
10
phone's
minutes.
blowing up. The fly to get the fly.
How? But you know what's gross? How hard are they gonna harp that shit?
I hope not. I hope that's not the highlight of the debate. Because
it will get memed. 100%.
It's gonna get memed, and that's fine because it should get memed because it's hilarious.
Yeah, it is hilarious.
But I don't think it should get it should not get a majority of the airplay. Of,
it
like,
should
the
not.
clips.
Yeah, it should not. Maybe they'll mention it, but like to put a lot of energy towards that is dumb.
I really hated how Pence didn't answer the healthcare question.
Yeah, that was a key one, dude. Because like
the pre-existing conditions, like they were basically like, what is Trump gonna do to prevent people from losing their pre-existing condition coverage? And he took some of that time to answer some other question, and then he just completely went off. Like,
yeah. I feel like
that sucks.
Kamala should have. Also, is it Kamala or is it Kamala? Like,
it's Kamala.
It's Kamala.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I feel like Kamala really should have pressed him on that in the same way that Pence was pressing her on the idea, well, not the idea, but like
The-
this
the packing
theory
the
of
court.
packing of that she's willing to pack the court.
Yeah, but she didn't
and
answer
whatnot.
that question. Like,
Yeah, she did
at
dodge
all,
that.
and that's crazy
She
because
did.
like, basically what that means is they're gonna change the laws so that they can add more Supreme Court justices. So basically, let's say they add like 3, and now they're all liberal, and now they just took it over.
But I just feel like at the same time that's kind of dumb because okay, it's gonna get to a point where we're probably gonna end up in the same situation.
Oh, yeah,
where-
yeah, of
where,
course.
okay, now they're all you know, which is a dumb argument to begin with because the Supreme Court is supposed to be the most unbiased people in this nation weighing our laws, not
Yeah.
someone that's liberal or someone that's more conservative. Like that
Wouldn't-
shouldn't
wouldn't
be-
the way-
that's
wouldn't-
kind of the issue though, because like, you know, the people that they're willing to appoint are extremely conservative. You know,
Shouldn't it be split down the middle, like
should be.
based on the 2 popular parties? Like, all right, you can have this many Supreme and then this many, like, and there not be.
You know what they should do? They should have people vote on that shit.
They should have people voting on that
Yeah.
shit. You're
Should.
right, 100%.
Like-
I would even be okay with a
Yeah.
scenario where there's 100%. Well, not what am I saying? I'd be okay with a scenario where it's like 9 judges still. 4 of them are always liberal. 4 of them are always conservative, and that middle one is kind of just like a toss-up.
Nah.
You know?
No, I
just-
like the idea of
Not
people
with it.
voting for all.
Yeah,
the
I just
people
think
vote.
like it shouldn't be liberal because there's more that doesn't properly represent everything.
There's
think-
definitely more
man.
There's definitely more liberal people in this country than there are not liberal people. Like, just based on, like, if you take like all the big cities, like take those populations, and like if you did like a straight like popular vote, it would be way more liberal.
Probably, it makes sense because probably like a lot of the biggest cities and the
Yeah.
biggest are liberal. But I think like to have just to accept the fact that this group of judges are going to be liberal, this group of judges are going to be conservative. I think it just doesn't sit well with me because I feel like that just makes you biased, and you're supposed to be unbiased when you're weighing, the laws whether they should be upheld or not. That's kind of the point. That's kind of the point of what the Supreme Court should be. At the end of the day, it just it's
Yeah.
heavily politicized. And,
Yeah.
And he did dodge like the absolute fuck out of that question. In regards to like what would happen in Indiana.
Yes.
Well,
Yes, he
both of
did.
them.
Yes,
you
he did.
said Kamala answered hers. What did she say on hers? Because unless she said in like 5 words.
She
I don't
she
really
kind of
remember.
answered it. What did she the abortion question, right?
Uh-huh.
She was basically saying that she supports it, like she supports it, but the problem here is that like
They tried to shift it into a question about
Faith,
packing the
I
courts,
think,
right?
about packing the
well,
court.
that's what
no.
Pence did.
Yeah.
But the problem is I want to know well, they didn't ask this, but I want to know what her definition of abortion means.
Yeah, they didn't.
Yeah,
they didn't
that's-
specify
Because
that.
Pence kept saying like you support late term abortion or like right before the pregnancy
Yeah,
abortion,
and she did put a face where she was like, "No, I don't."
but then like you didn't go
Yeah, she
into
didn't.
detail.
She really should have taken a page out of Pence's book with the, yeah, we have moved on, but I really want to
Answer the
like
question.
answer the question and really make a statement.
This whole like another thing too. This whole like like how holy thy are, like
Yeah.
get the fuck out of here.
it's
Like come
fucking
on,
fake.
dude. If the Democrats were in the same position, that shit would get they would elect a Supreme Court justice, and do not tell me otherwise. It would happen. There would be no we'll wait
Well, they
till the
tried.
next.
They tried it. At the end of Obama's term, he tried to appoint someone. What happened was McConnell.
Yeah, they shut it down.
Yeah,
but
they shut it down.
yeah, but they wouldn't be.
But had they not shut it down,
It would have went through.
would have went through.
So like Kamala kept saying that like over and over again. I was like, all right, like you would do the same shit. Shut up. Like that was bothering me.
I guess it's more. They're more saying like, like they set the standard there. They said, okay, like yes, okay, okay, you're probably right about how the Dems would have wanted done the same thing, but like, the Republicans said like, no, the next president should decide, and now they're going back on that. That's the main issue.
I mean,
And now
I
they're
would-
now they're arguing this whole new thing where it's like, oh, like the Senate and it is Republican and
Wait, who who said they weren't doing it and they were waiting?
What do you mean?
You just said that the Republicans said they wouldn't elect a Supreme Court
No,
justice?
no. Basically, they said they gave a problem about it in 2016.
Okay. Oh,
saying
they
Obama wasn't
they
allowed
had the
to.
problem with Obama.
Yes.
Okay, and now
so
they're
the
having the
big-
problem with
and now they're like kind of like basically saying like, oh, you know, like nah, like, and they're kind of like backtracking and saying, you know, hey, like, oh, but it's you know, they're bringing these new things to the table, like, oh, you know, there's what is it, the Senate is in charge, and because the Senate is the same party as the president, then it's okay, you know, like it's like they're the ones making the rules, but you know, Pence is giving Kamala shit for.
I keep saying Kamala too. It's not
Yeah,
gonna...
why? Like the wrestler Kamala, like right?
maybe
I don't
that's
know.
what we're thinking of.
Maybe
I don't know.
That's it. You
I
know,
don't know.
I don't know. Rest in peace. But you know, it's it. I don't know. It's the point is like, you know, they're trying to call out the hypocrisy, but they're not doing it well enough, and it totally is a hypocrisy.
They should. That's what she should have said.
Yeah.
What you just said, she should have said like, "Oh, you guys were trying to stop us from doing it."
Yeah.
Back then.
And you know, Biden tried to mention that, but like.
Yeah, but
But
Biden
here's
tried-
But that whole debate was just a lost
A
cause. at this
nightmare?
point, you know?
Here's the thing. I would agree with that until she dropped the ball hard by mentioning Abraham Lincoln. Why? Because now she's making it seem that this is a traditional thing that's been happening
Yeah.
since the 1800s.
Yeah, that was stupid. Yeah, I agree with that.
So that, in my opinion, I think that kind of takes away from that argument that you're making that, okay, the Republicans set the precedents, because now she's saying this was always the precedents, since, you know, the 1800s or however long she wants to do it. So, you know.
Yeah.
So it's really a dumb argument, because at the end of the day, listen, fucking, these are the people that were voted into office. They have to stay until their term's done. I mean, Trump kind of said it. And at the end of the day, if like we're saying right now, if the fucking shoe was on the other foot, you know, Dems would have just gone with that shit, regardless of what, you know, Republicans would have said, whether it, you know, they should wait for the end of the election or if they bring up the past.
But the point is that, you know, they tried that and the Republicans said no way, and 4 years later we're in the same situation and the Republicans are like, oh yes, absolutely. So
Yeah,
it's like
it's hypocritical on
it
both
is
sides.
hypocritical. So
I think
that's the main issue, and she definitely could have touched.
Yeah, she
more
had
upon
ammo
that
there.
and really should have called him out on that.
She had ammo in so many areas, like, but she's like the whole fracking thing, like.
Yeah, I don't
that
know.
was
Why
a-
was that so...
How many times was Franking said tonight? Like
a
at least
lot, but
10.
it's like weird because it's like she should have looked. She should have. Pence should have looked really bad for saying that. Oh, you don't you don't support fracking, right? But her answers were just so like it did like contradictory to like what she did before. Like it's very strange. And then she's like coming out trying to be proud, like we do support fracking, but it's like fracking's horrible. Like I should be more upset at this guy for saying because I'm more
it was very weird. It's almost like when Trump called Biden out, he's like, you can't say law and order. Like, law and order, what's the big deal? They should be the same thing. Like, you don't support fracking. Like, this is wrong from your end. I don't support fracking because that's literally causing.
Yeah, this is the problem. Then explain to me why that's the problem, or like
that was
the Green New Deal thing again. Like Pence is like she supports the Green New Deal. It's like, all right, the Green New Deal is actually amazing, but then like her thing is like she's just like no, but like then
Well,
they
she didn't specifically say that she supported it or not.
But that's the whole problem here. Like she can get points.
Yeah.
Like in certain areas.
Mm-hmm. I feel like they just want to leave that like.
No, they want to become. They want to fall right. They want to become basically. They want to go to the right. They're going to the right now. They dropped all their left positions. Now they're going towards the middle, which every fucking Democrat has to do in an election. Whereas the Republicans basically stick with their shit. Even though I don't agree with most of their crap. We're all more liberal. Well, I'll speak for myself at least.
Yeah, well, I mean,
left
obviously,
Bernie, some big Bernie supporter
me
here.
too.
But
so you know,
but it's like you have to put that away. You have to like put that on the side. Like, I'm trying to do that for this to see who actually who came out on top of this debate. Like, I side with Kamala almost everything she said, but she just has poor execution, and she looks at you and tries to tell you a story. And again, like I look at it as I'm being talked down to, and the Biden did the same thing in the other debate. Now, Pence did come off very calm, and you made a point before where you were surprised, like he was so calm compared to Trump.
Yeah. So during our intermission, we were talking a little shit and
a little shit.
And man, like just I don't know what's the way I could describe it. The environment of this debate was just so. It was civil. Like yes, these two people were against each other, but it was I don't know. It really felt like these two people like didn't have like this some personal vendetta against each other, and I was able to look at it and pay attention to what they were saying rather than like the jabs that they were taking at each other.
Yep.
You know, like
And like for the most part, they stopped talking when like someone's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, excuse me," like the Kamal would be like, "Excuse me, I'm talking," and then he'd be like, "All right."
and you know, like now, like more than ever, you know, they made a point to bring up the fact that like no matter what, in January we will have a president who is, you know, the oldest,
Yeah.
you know, ever.
Yes. Yes.
So, you know,
that was a very good question
tonight
that they asked.
yeah, that was very important, and you know, it definitely was something that didn't occur to me until that moment, even though it does seem pretty obvious, but
Yeah.
you know, like it shows like, okay, you know,
guys
at
are
least the next two people in line are,
Pretty whack.
you know,
I mean, I
they're
don't-
pretty fucking whack.
I don't want to say they're
but
the next two in line. Like I get like
Like,
if
in
something,
potent-
God
if something
forbid, were to happen,
if something
yes,
were to
yes,
happen, yes, you know, like I mean, but who knows, man? The world's fucking crazy right now. You never know.
Yeah.
But they were saying like, you know, there is a possibility that, you know, one of these two people could end up becoming president, you know, sometime in the next 4 years. So, you know, as the odds of it, who knows, man?
Yeah.
There's really no telling. But
Ain't no telling.
But you know, like, dude, we didn't expect. We thought. I didn't. It didn't even cross my mind that Trump could possibly get COVID. Like seeing him get off scot free for all these months.
Yeah, and then he gets
and
it.
then out of nowhere, just getting
Donald
it, testing
Trump.
positive out of nowhere. That you know, that I was shocked. You know, I thought for whatever reason, you know, like him being tested, you know, like all that stuff constantly, you know, he was in the clear. But
Yeah.
it just, you know, it really makes you think. You never know, and you know, God, I mean, I don't like Pence, but oh no, I said my opinion.
Uh-oh.
I don't.
Whoa.
Oh,
Yo.
I don't like Pence, but he's leagues more presidential than Trump is.
Pence is cool.
But is he more presidential than Kamala is? No,
I don't know about that.
I would not say leagues. I don't even know if he is, but
I don't know about
that.
that.
But that's what we gotta figure out right now.
Yeah. Well, not right now.
I don't want to. I don't
That's
want
not what
to.
we got to figure out right now.
You guys
Because-
really want to call us a draw? I don't want to call it a draw.
I call it a draw.
I would call it a draw. And here's the thing, like, it's tough to like think about this debate now. And
But then I gotta put a.
you can say
I want to put a name there in that question mark.
you can say like, you know, oh man, like you're getting influenced by social media, blah blah blah. But like,
Wait, what are you talking about?
no, I'm just saying like, I'm making a point for what I'm about to say.
Okay.
Like you could say like, you know, oh, like you're influenced by social media, you know, that's not your real opinion. You're copying it from Twitter or from Reddit. But like, but you know, at the end of the last debate, I said nobody won, and like I still kind of believe that. But in the days after the debate, I kept, you know, looking into and reading things and watching videos about things that these guys said.
How Biden won, basically.
No,
because everything I saw was Biden won that
people
debate.
were saying that, and you know, I was just like, I mean, okay, I guess he won the moral debate, but
yeah,
you know, like
people couldn't get over the fact that Trump just kept interrupting. Like that was like the big thing.
But
I mean,
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Is that really
I still
enough to say?
I still don't.
No.
But like I just want to say like my perspective on the debate, like, you know, I was able to see different things.
Yes,
in the days after.
yes,
So
yep.
here we are, you know, less than 30 minutes after it ended. My opinion is going to be different, you know, a week from now than it is today.
Yeah, but your opinion, what you're basically saying is you're gonna keep seeing stuff, and that's gonna. I don't want to say it's gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be. I don't want to say it's gonna change it, but it'll influence it. Now, what if you're just seeing more of like MSNBC, CNN, blah blah blah? Because you know you're not getting it real. Like, or if you see more Fox News, you're not getting it real.
Well, I would just I want to hear like other like people's opinion, not, you know, news stuff. I want to hear stuff from people straight up.
But that still influences.
But what if
Yeah,
they
and then
get
like
their
you can
shit
look
from
at it.
Fox or
You
their
know
shit
what?
from
Like,
Yeah, you can look.
There's no winning.
You can look at it in the
winning.
sense
There's
of
no
like
winning, man.
people
Like,
on Twitter.
everybody's biased, and that's at the end of the day.
I mean,
But
true.
that's the reason why. Like for example, like when you do jury duty and shit, like when we're talking about the grand jury, they're not allowed to look into the cases. They're not allowed to speak about it. They're not allowed to, like, they have to literally come in unknown as best as, I don't know how on some of these cases, but
Yeah.
as neutral as possible.
Imagine that.
You know what I'm
like,
saying?
Imagine being neutral to like
Like
the
you
George Floyd case. Like everyone in the
Yeah.
country knew about.
Yeah,
that.
I don't know how they do it.
Like how?
but that's kind of the idea, because
Oh yeah, that's
'cause
crazy.
even-
Yeah, that's
'cause
that's
even
crazy.
if, like,
man.
let's say, all right, I mean, news is one thing, but even if you just talk with your neighbors about it,
They're gonna say
if-
some shit.
yeah, even if you talk, you can't even talk within each other about it
Mhm.
because that influences you. So it's hard. I mean,
Yeah.
No, they'll probably find
But-
people that aren't on the internet or watching TV. I
they-
guess
they've-
there's, I'm
you,
sure there's
you
people.
get vetted. I mean, certain higher profile cases, like, they isolate you.
That was definitely a giant case.
But again, who knows how
well,
who knows how it
I
happens.
guess what I'm trying to say in a sense is like, you know, I feel like I need more time to digest what I watch.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
And yes, along the way, I will get influenced by other people's opinions,
Yo,
whether it
come
be from
on,
the
man.
media, whether it be from people, whether it be from people I have conversations with, or people whose tweets I read,
Talk to me, man.
Or-
I'll influence you.
anything, man, or conversations between us. That's just how it goes, man. That's
Well, I want to keep a fresh perspective here. So
yeah.
whatever we put on that question mark, if we put tie, that's a tie, and it's saying a tie. Like we can change it later,
I'm
but
okay with that.
as of right now, our unbiased what we saw raw would be that tie.
Wait,
so
but I don't think it's a
Actually,
tie.
you know what?
you know, okay. So
Actually-
I'm just saying, like, if we're gonna put a tie, then you gotta be sure it's a tie because we're not changing it.
You know
later.
what? Yeah, no. I think Kamala won.
You think Kamala won? Okay.
Kamala won.
I think the fly won.
Fly.
It's like that Breaking Bad
Dude,
episode.
no one had the biggest pop off until that fly showed up, and that fly, like, we all
Yeah.
went crazy for it.
I know.
Like,
That
if you
fly got
review
mad
this,
viewers.
we're all just looking like serious.
How many people are
man.
gonna vote for that fly?
A lot.
People would, if
He's a
that fly
part
was
of
on the
it.
ballot, that
Or
fly
she's
would
a
get
part
mad.
of it. Or it's a part of it.
Steve, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna go last. You guys always put the pressure on me, man.
All right, what do you think?
I thought you were never scared.
Are you
I'm
voting for the
scared.
fly? Are you voting fly?
Can we do ranked choice voting?
We can.
I would go.
I want to know who number 3 is gonna be.
I would go the fly,
Wow.
Yeah.
the lady that was sneezing,
Yeah.
Yeah, what the fuck was that?
and Fragile Maddox. Just cause when that question came up, at first I'm like, "What do you support Fragile Maddox?" And I'm like, "Who the fuck is Fragile
Oh
Maddox?"
my god.
And at first I'm like, "Cause you answered that so quick," and I'm like, "Oh shit, I think there's something I should know. I'm gonna look like a dumbass." Now.
Oh,
I'm gonna go Fragile
no.
Maddox is.
Oh, we know what on the ranked choice voting, number 1,000 should definitely be the fucking moderator. Cause damn,
Susan.
like,
Susan.
So okay, the moderator. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to just blame Kamala here, but they both are going over their times, and she wasn't really. She wasn't like they have rules set in place, and she kind of wasn't like she'd be like Kamala would be like, oh, I really need to answer this right now, and she'd be like, okay. No, be like, no, you're not answering it, or tell Pence, no, shut the fuck up,
yeah,
like, stop talking.
We need a moderator who will put their foot down and just be like,
Fuck
Or
outta here.
have it an open forum where, like you said before, let them just
Let 'em
fucking
fight.
talk, like let
Well,
them talk,
um,
and have
An
no
octagon
moderator.
typically they do town hall debates,
with Herb Dean.
but
Yeah, but
I don't. That's probably not happening this year.
not
Yeah,
town.
Nah.
one of the presidential ones
What
is a town
town?
hall.
Is it
Wait, really?
really? It's happening.
And that's an open. There's no like
Yeah.
stopping them from talking.
It's. I think they take questions from like people, and they answer.
On Zoom calls, probably.
Yeah, that was super cringy when Kamala was like,
On
"Oh, and
Zoom.
it was live on Zoom." Like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
she just plugging
It's
Zoom. Like,
annoying as
come
hell
on,
when she
man.
tries to like reach hard as
Alright,
fuck to be
my
as
answer-
relatable as possible.
yeah,
to
and it
people.
sucks. It sucks.
I think it was a tie.
She lost so many points for that. Like, I knew it was gonna happen, but I didn't think she was gonna do the Biden like looking at the camera going, "Listen, you must like, dude." Like most of the people watching this are grown adults. Like, don't like. I don't know. That's like a pet peeve for me. I feel like I'm
I
being
don't know.
talked down to.
Personally, I wasn't bothered by it, and I didn't even like. I would have just been completely unfazed had you guys not like popped off when she had done it. I don't know, man.
What if Trump did that shit? He looked at the screen and he was like, "You, with the hat and the flannel."
I'm talking to you?
I think, I
Dude.
think you know why this is hard to judge, because I also think like the questions that were asked were like they're. I'm not gonna say they were shitty. There were some good questions, but they weren't the questions that should have been asked.
Yeah, I
Like they
completely
didn't
agree.
talk about fucking the CARES Act, the stimulus package,
Yes,
COVID relief.
yes,
They didn't
yes.
talk at all about
Trying
that.
to get paid.
They didn't talk about what are we gonna do to recover jobs. Well, they kind of brushed upon it, but like that kind of goes into COVID shit, but they didn't talk about like the wars that we're having right now. I know it's not the biggest thing, but like that's still an ongoing thing that's been going on for fucking ever. Immigration and how COVID may be affecting that. They didn't talk about whatever in here. The like how this because we keep talking about a second wave, like how that's gonna look like, and what are the things
What specifically will your administration do January 1st if there's a second wave? Go. All right, now you go. Specifics though. I want specifics. Not I'll talk to the lead scientists and we'll figure it out. No, I want to know what you're going to do. Like you need to have some type of plan at least.
I feel like your expectations are way too high.
But
that's not.
And I know, man. I know that's how it should be, but
that's not just how it should. That's exactly how it should be.
That's not
right.
a high
Like, how are you
expectation,
running for president and you don't have
they
answers to these
they
questions?
never talk about this stuff in debates.
No,
ever.
Like it doesn't have to be super specific. It has to be specific enough to where it's like, all right, I know what you're gonna do. Because I can go if I can go up there and bullshit that response myself, then I know it's a bad answer. Like I could have went up there and said that.
Yeah, I
I could
mean,
have said that shit too.
Yeah, like come on.
Man, like the problem is there's not enough time. Like there's so many things to talk about, and it's an hour and a half. Like our podcasts are like 3 hours long before they get edited.
But one thing is
you
not
know?
having a time to talk about all of it. Another thing is to just avoid it and deflect with something else. And that's the issue is you get asked, all right, what do you like? For example, they even got asked on what is the Biden plan for COVID, and all I got out of that was contact tracing and make vaccines free.
Yeah.
Like,
but don't we already do contact tracing basically?
We already do contact tracing, and
the vaccine should be fucking free.
Vaccine should
that
be
shouldn't even
free
be a question,
regardless,
honestly.
Like these things would just be an answer that pretty much 90% of the people would give.
Yeah.
But what about your plan would differ from Pence, or why is it better?
And that's where Kamala would have gotten more points too if Pence answered that, because he definitely was going to commit to saying it was going to be free.
Do we have another question on there? It looks like we do.
We have a statement.
Okay, what is it?
I don't want to misspell this. It says Ayo Lire, who's 12, black, and is a Republican. Which, all the power to you, bro. That's awesome. Just make sure that you keep up with politics so you know what's going on.
This guy's going Trump 2020, Pence 2024.
Go for it. I mean, go for it.
Yeah, you can vote for what you want.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
Pence 2024. That's interesting to see like how that shit will turn out if Trump wins and the Republicans are coming off picking a new nominee.
Pence came off very presidential.
He'll definitely score points if
Yeah.
he ever plans on running in the future.
Yep.
He's a calm guy. He's
So I don't know how to score this, because I keep going back and forth. Like I keep going back to like where like Kamala, like there was a few things she said that were just straight up lies. And I was like,
what?
dude,
Like
Yeah,
what?
there was a point where you got like heated.
yeah, like
Yeah, go
one of the
off.
things that she was
Go
saying,
off.
like she was like basically because of the Trump administration's China trade war, that we lost manufacturing jobs.
Oh,
It's
when
like,
it went
what
to
the hell are you
manufacturing,
talking about? Like, was
that's
she
really
trying to say because he put a tariff on Chinese goods that jobs were lost because they got too expensive? Is that what she was trying to say? Because that was so unclear and made no sense whatsoever. Like, what was that? Like, that was basically just spewing nonsense. Like, you can go back and you can look at the Obama administration with Biden and see that they fucking lost manufacturing jobs with, like, the NAFTA and all those deals. So
Yeah.
Trump repealing NAFTA is a good thing. That's not a bad thing. So I was very confusing. I don't know. That bothered me. Pence not answering the healthcare question really pissed me off. Pence hitting Kamala on her record was beast. That was cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of want to lead towards Pence here, but I just don't stand for anything he stands for. That's the problem I'm having. Like if I look at this debate objectively and move past Kamala, like looking at the camera and trying to like connect with me, which I found annoying as hell, I think I'd give it to Pence, but very, very, very slightly. And I hesitate because I don't stand for like really, like maybe some of the things you were saying I could get behind, but
So 10-9 Pence.
It's honestly like
10.9.5 Pence.
it's like 8-7.
Damn.
Yeah, they both sucked.
No, like, and this scale is is representative
what
to
then?
the past debate where it was just disgusting. Like it was like you said, point zero zero
Like,
one.
it was awful. Like, oh
Yeah,
man.
I think it was like 0.05 to 0.0125 out of 100.
Yeah.
I was expecting Pence to have this moment where like he was gonna go like crazy ape shit on religion, and he didn't do it.
And you kept saying that,
he's
but
calm.
Yeah, he didn't do it. So I think I'm gonna give Pence the win, but barely here.
Yeah, I'm going with Ty. Nobody won.
You know, Matai, what about you?
Pence,
Well, I already said I'm gonna go with Harris.
Harris.
Mm-hmm.
Comes down to me.
It's rough. I mean, you can if
It
you
comes
believe
down
it's
to
a
nothing,
tie,
man. I
then
mean,
it will tie it.
This
It's fine.
is clearly already like the most polarizing shit. Like, so
I think I'm being biased here, actually. Yeah,
You
by
could be
saying
however
that.
you want.
I feel like I'm
It's
being a
your
little biased
choice.
too. But what are you
You
gonna
could
do,
be
man?
however you want too. It's your choice. Because we are pro-choice.
Like if I was less biased, I think I think
Damn right.
I think it would be more of a. I don't know because like when I look at this, like I know Kamala's record, and like when she says like I did this and I did that and I did that, and it's like, dude, let's
didn't
talk about
forget.
how you're gonna arrest parents for not sending kids to school, or how you keep people imprisoned, or your stance on marijuana. Like let's talk about that. Like
But
she
you
was
smoke
trying to say, oh, we're
marijuana
gonna pass
too.
marijuana, but she was against the whole time. So it's like that bothers me.
She didn't say legalize. She said decriminalize.
Pence didn't. Oh, did she really?
Yeah, she
I
didn't
didn't
say
catch that.
legalize.
She did. That's a good
Pence didn't like get her on those things, so like he could have, and I think that would have made this more decisive. But
point. Yeah, he just touched upon it, but
But I
he
think it's
didn't, like,
that's a
go
Pence
in.
personality thing. He's a laid back, chill guy.
But it was fucked up because after that, dude, she got a 30-second response time that lasted over a minute.
yeah, I'm not even. Yeah, that's a
You
whole
know what
other
I'm
thing.
saying?
Like I felt like the moderator was definitely more biased in that sense, but
Susan.
Like part of me, like,
I'm not gonna let that dictate, I guess, my choice.
like Kamala had some good
Susan, what the
responses, but I think what took points away from her, just like how the fly took points away from Pence, is that
That
like,
fly, man, definitely took points away
she,
from her.
that she got kind of like, I guess, a little like more, I would say more leeway from the moderator than Pence did. Again, and it's just like how the fly, that has nothing to do with Pence. That probably has nothing to do with Kamala, besides the fact that
Yeah.
maybe behind the scenes some shit happened, or the moderator was his ass. I don't know. If I'm not allowed to pick the fly, I think I'll probably just stick as a tie, man. Because I don't know. Like I think both candidates had moments. I think both candidates had just, what are you saying? But at the end of the day, I think a mix of just the right questions not being asked, or the appropriate questions not being asked, and I think there was just a lot of deflection
Yeah, there was.
on it. Part because of the structure, that one got asked one question, one got asked another, and then it just
And then
became a
like they
scramble.
chose who can respond to what questions. Really stupid
Yeah,
things.
So I think in contrast from the last debate where the candidates were just a shit show, I think this one, the structure of the moderator and how they formatted was a shit show a little bit, and I think that's why I give it a tie, because it don't, in my mind, I guess it just makes it not fair for both of them.
I can completely respect and agree with that. So just curious, why did you give Kamala the win? Does something like stand out?
I just felt like, I don't know. I just found her believable. Like
Okay.
I just believed what she was saying.
I think for me, why I'm giving Pence the win here is that specific shit she kept doing, where she looked at the camera and tried to talk to me.
She's
That
like,
bothered me a lot.
She's like, America, when I wake up and eat the Kellogg's, and I pour
On Zoom.
good old
Yeah,
American
Zoom shit
milk.
was not.
I think about the future of this great country and the great things we can accomplish, and it all starts with the thought of a bowl of cereal. Like shit like that's like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah,
She don't eat
or like the
Kellogg's.
storytelling, man. Come on, stop with the storytelling. We don't have time
Like,
for that.
come on, woman.
All right, here we go. It's a tie. We have a tie.
I think you fucked that up. It's FLY.
Fly? A fly! We got a fly, you're right. I'm like, wait, what did I do? Yeah, we got a fly. That was definitely a better debate, though. I'm happy we had things to discuss.
That shit was boring as fuck.
It was.
I'm trying to see people
But that's how
scrap.
you know it was a good debate, because it was boring.
Yeah.
But that goes back into why Trump is the way he is, because he knows just straight up debate is boring. So
Gotta
he
make that shit
acts,
entertaining.
yeah, exaggerated
Gotta
as
draw
fuck
you
to make it
in.
entertaining, draw you in. Whether it works or not, the jury's up on that.
Whether it works or not, that's the whole question. Whether
We'll
anything
see.
works or not.
We'll see. I mean, at this point, for the next presidential debate, who knows what's gonna happen, man?
Either are we
A
even
lot-
having it? Like Trump's down to have it, but like I do
But
not
he-
fault Biden for saying he needs to get
Yeah.
tested. He definitely needs to get tested and needs to be negative
Yes, absolutely.
because Biden getting coronavirus is very bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, man.
And he's already on drugs and shit.
Yeah,
so
he's. I would not want that
fucked
to
up.
happen.
And
So, I think he's. I honestly believe he's going to be negative. I think that this debate's happening.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
They gave they gave Trump like fucking crazy experimental drugs that looked like it worked.
They gave Trump
From what we
Medicare
know
for
right
all.
now, again, they're saying that the big surge is going to like the big like answer to the question is he okay is going to happen in what a few days or something.
Yeah.
totally. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll know,
we'll
but
see.
I think he's going to be at that debate, and we're going to run this shit back again. And we gave Trump the win last time. We're going to see if Biden can tie it.
We'll see if we'll see how the post COVID effects how they play a part.
What do you mean the post?
Because
the post-Trump.
I know personally, like people who I know that have had COVID are still, have been negative since like May, and are still feeling,
You know specific
stuff.
people that are fucked up like that?
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I am.
I know someone who's like her eyesight is just not, what it was.
What?
It's just, like she said, her eyes are like a little weaker now, and
That's
Are
wild.
they weak? Like she can't see as good,
Yeah.
or the brightness.
and she's
or
her memory also.
I mean,
not Trump.
there's some shit that where they're saying like
Trump's gonna
some
fake that
people are having neurological issues, but like they're saying it's a very low amount, like a very tiny
Yeah. So
portion of
I don't
people.
know, man. It's just it's a crazy.
Regardless, he's gonna take mad drugs to help him beforehand, so he could be as
Like
perfect
what,
on
cocaine?
stage. Probably. Who knows?
Dude, here's the thing, and I'm calling this right now, and we have it on record. So you know how when
We
Hillary,
edited this in later.
you know when Hillary got sick, and they're like, "Oh, Hillary's not there; it's a double." Like, imagine if Trump beats, and they're like, "That's not Trump. That's like a double, or that's like a."
It's a triple.
I mean, I could, that could happen. I could see it happening. They're probably going to say that.
And Trump's not there anymore.
There's mad
He's actually
clones.
dead, and there's just like a fucking clone of him.
Trump
I
machine.
remember that Hillary clone meme was hilarious.
Yeah.
Dude, watch. That's gonna be the meme going
Cringe.
forward. So all you meme
Yeah, but she
makers
had
get on.
mannerisms that kind of fed
Oh.
into that. She was like very like when she'd go on stage, she'd try to be very like robotic. When she
Lock
spoke.
her ass up. Lock her up. Lock her up.
Yeah, then what did he do? He didn't do shit about it.
Yeah,
Just like people are saying
well,
Biden's gonna lock up Trump. Biden's not gonna lock up Trump. They're all fucking friends.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
people
I
all
know,
work
dude.
for the same fucking people, man.
Dude,
Like,
they're-
come on.
It's
Whack.
funny because they're probably like all in the same limo.
dude.
They're chilling, having champagne.
Pence
and
said
shit.
that
Yo,
shit. They debate on stage, but in the
Trump,
back.
Trump texted Biden. He's
Man,
like, "Dude, I tested positive." He was like, "Fuck, man. Now I'm gonna get tested."
They're all fucking bought by big corporations.
They're all there like, yo, who caught the fly on Pence's head? Man? Who caught the
Yeah,
fly?
it's like-
yeah. Fucking
He's
Biden's in
getting roasted in the group chat right now.
Biden's in the limo with the RC remote. Like, oh shit, I got him. Yeah, really. So,
Trash.
like, what's really gonna change if fucking Biden wins? Honestly,
Who knows?
TBD.
what's gonna change if Trump stays president?
You
Fucking
know,
hell, man.
and Pence again did dodge the Trump leading not being willing to leave office. Peaceful transition of power thing again.
yeah.
They're
Like,
just trying to push a status
stupid,
quo.
yeah.
I don't freaking know, man.
well,
Like,
we'll leave you
what
with that.
abuse.
I don't know.
We'll leave you with that.
This shit's
What we should be fucking talking about is
Trash.
why they're not giving us stimulus. Why we're not getting
Ugh.
unemployment benefits and why we're
Yeah,
not
where
getting
my
stimulus
money
checks.
at?
That's the fucking problem. Why we're giving all of our money to airlines.
The fucking
Yeah.
COVID relief, man. And they didn't even talk about that at all.
No, of course not.
That's
course
that's
not.
the biggest, like, fu of not bringing that shit up during a debate.
I feel like it's because neither side really cares enough to do anything about it.
What do you mean? That's horrible.
That is
You're right.
horrible. That's
I'm
the
just
facts.
saying, dude. I'm just saying.
You're
It's
entitled to your
absolutely
opinion.
fucking
But
horrible.
you're not entitled to the facts.
But I just feel
my
like-
man Pence said.
Dude.
But you know who would talk about it?
Oh, I know who would talk about it.
We all know who would talk about that shit.
Angela
Howie.
Walker.
How Angela
We all know who
Walker,
talk about it.
Howie,
But
Green,
I know who else would also talk about
Green baby.
My boy Howie.
it.
Angela Walker's his VP. Running, or
Yeah.
his running
yeah,
mate.
yeah.
If you don't
so
know right now.
who's what's his name? What's their name again?
Ayo, El Rey.
Oh, you're talking about
Who's
Not El- not El Rey, not
who do you
El Rey.
support question?
Yes.
Do you support Fragile Maddox?
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we end this, all right, for this election, what do you think you're doing?
I'm not voting Trump. I will say that.
Okay,
But I've been having this like internal like debate whether it's worth it to like really make a statement and vote third party, or just take one for the team and vote Biden. And it just sucks. I don't want to feel like I'm settling for a candidate, and I feel like if I vote Biden, I'm settling for him. And I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. And I made this statement before, and like, say what you will, in my first time voting was in 2012, and I voted for Obama. And like, let's don't give me shit for his track record, blah blah blah. But
you were 18.
I was in 2012 I was 20. I was 20.
All right, so then yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was just like, I voted for Obama because I wanted Obama to win. Like that was the guy I wanted, and like
Like,
and-
you got like you had like a sense of hope for the future type thing.
yeah, man. And but honestly, I feel a little bit better about voting for Biden after tonight, seeing like, Kamala seemed decent to me. She seemed good. I definitely, like her more now than I did. I feel more confident about her.
Okay.
And her ability to be president now than I did earlier today. I think she did well, and that's why I say she won, because I feel like she won me over a little bit.
Okay.
So I don't know. I hate to just give a non-answer like they've been giving all night.
No, I
you
mean
know,
that. I
but-
mean, you're still undecided.
But-
You're technically undecided still.
Yeah, I mean,
You're just not voting Trump.
I'm
and
not
you're-
voting Trump, but like
yeah.
that is a decision that I made. I don't like Trump. I don't agree with him. Like I just feel like he personifies a lot of things that I stand against in my own, like personal self. So yeah, I just don't want to feel like, I'm willing to vote for Biden, but I want Biden to give me a reason to vote for him. You
Yeah.
know? And
He just doesn't do it.
we'll see. We'll see in the coming weeks. We'll see in the next two debates.
Well-
But otherwise, like, I mean, what I could vote Green. I'm not gonna vote Libertarian. It's tough, man. I mean, I would love to write in Bernie Sanders. I would love to.
That's the fucking protest vote.
I would love to, but what good is it gonna do?
What about you? What's your take on this?
Who do I support?
Yeah.
Definitely none of the two major candidates. I'm not giving Biden the vote or Trump. It's definitely gonna be a third party, but I just have to figure out which one. But I really like Howie, because my boy Howie, he spits the facts. That's where I'm at.
Green Party candidate. Okay. I can respect that. For me, I have conflicting things with me. So I'm definitely not voting for Joe Biden. I'm past the point now that this guy can tell me he's going to give me Medicare for all. He's going to support a Green New Deal. He can tell me all this up to my face, and I'm not going to believe it. I don't think Biden would be good for the United States of America in a lot of reasons. I think our economy would definitely go down. It wouldn't be as high if you had Trump. So I'm leaning towards the Green Party, because the Green Party, they support almost everything I stand for. They might go a little too extreme for my taste, but I'll take it, because the main thing that I care about is healthcare, and Medicare for all to me was a big deal. And honestly, I might vote. I could possibly vote for Trump. It could happen. I don't think he's the devil everyone makes him out to be. Like, when you pull back the curtain and you see like what are his accomplishments for the past 3 years. He did have the fucking greatest economy we've ever seen. There was insane job growth. There was the lowest numbers of unemployment. Like, these things happened. He did executive order sign the lowering of drug prices, which Biden is not doing at all. I'm pretty sure we can all confidently agree on that. But there's things that Trump did that aren't as crazy horrible like everyone's making it seem. So if he could sway me, But as of right now, it would be kind of hard for Trump to sway me, but it's possible. So right now, I think I'm leaning green, honestly. What about you?
Shit. I'm definitely going green. I want them to win that 5%.
That's another reason.
That's
why,
how
yeah.
we like.
Yep.
Because initially I was like, I really want Bernie Sanders because Bernie Sanders is like truly about change and like a political revolution. But we all know how that went, which is bullshit. And I think the next way that we could actually like get change and get a political revolution is the 5% for a third party, so they get funded more.
Yes.
And then Green Party has a lot of shit, like you said, that I actually want. And they're the original, like Howie's the original, like 2010 Green New Deal guy. And the shit he says makes a lot of sense. He says it like it is. They're both corporate candidates on the debate stage.
Yep.
So going green.
That's super respectful. Well, we'll leave you guys with that. Anyone new here, subscribe to us. We're going to be, if there is a second debate, we're going to live stream it. We're definitely going to live stream the third one. And we're going to try to attempt to live stream the election on election night.
Oh,
That's going to be
so
crazy.
we're gonna live stream for 7 days straight.
You already know.
Well, I mean,
Our
at least for
lives.
the initial results, you're right. With all this mail-in voting, we're not going to have like results for certain places. But we should have an idea, honestly, of who's winning by the end of the night.
It's gonna be an absolute
you-
colossal.
You think it's
shit
going to be
show.
just split down like, oh, we don't know who's going to win?
Yeah.
It's gonna be tight, dude.
Dude, it's gonna be tight as fuck, and
That's going to be crazy
and
the next day not
and
knowing.
the amount of shit talking that's gonna be taking place on both sides. It's there's gonna be
Yo,
a lot of
Trump's
hostility.
Twitter is going to
There's
be
gonna
wild.
There's gonna be a lot of hostility. Like
Yeah.
The economy's gonna
I'm,
go
I'm
crazy.
really
for
I'm really
10
not looking
days.
forward to
I just realized.
to
it's
it. And
kinda
you know, like
insane.
even like putting aside like the results of the election completely, like that like kind of in between is just gonna like I don't know. I hope I'm wrong, but like I'm scared for it, man. Like I just feel like it's literally gonna be probably like one of the most like divisive time periods like we've
It's
seen.
where everyone goes crazy and
People
fights
are
each
gonna
other.
yeah, it's just gonna
It's going to be a lot of election fraud talk,
riots.
of course.
it's gonna be rough, man. It's
Yeah.
gonna like social media is gonna be
It's
like
disgusting.
Yeah, it's gonna be gross.
Just delete that shit.
Yeah, really. Delete your
I don't
social
know,
media.
dude,
You're
but-
right. Like you should, because it's gonna be disgusting. It's like this guy didn't win this state. We didn't get these votes in yet, but this guy did this. Look, they deleted that. They did this, that.
Flipping
It's like,
coins.
it's gonna,
They're
yeah.
flipping
Um,
coins.
We're gonna see
So,
videos of coin flips. Like
one thing I've been seeing a lot on online. I guess we could just address this now real
this guy
quick.
wants to talk all night.
I mean, what time is it?
I don't know,
Shit,
but
it's almost
I
election
said
day.
I told people we're ending it like
11:33.
like 40 minutes ago.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, I got military duty. Man.
Damn.
Military. dude.
Word. Well.
Whoa. Gotta drop.
I know Eddie just
Gotta
said,
take
"Yo,
that-
you guys
that
getting
drop.
on?"
Alright, y'all like and subscribe
Yeah.
that shit.
Oh, yeah.
and
Well,
be
I'll
back at
save it
some
for next
point.
time.
All right, we'll come back to that. Whatever you hold it,
Yeah.
we'll come back. Unless
Yeah.
it's something short you want to say.
I mean,
real quick.
no, it's definitely not short, but
All
I
right,
mean,
hold it then.
maybe I'll say it and then we could pick up on it next time.
All right. Well, what's the topic then?
The topic is I've been seeing a lot of this, and you see it all the time, dude. Like it's just something I want to discuss. Do you believe that a vote for the Green Party is a vote for Trump?
Okay, that's gonna be the first question we ask at our next podcast.
Yeah, and I think it's a question worth asking because I've been seeing it a lot recently, and
All right. Sounds
I
good.
I just
Well,
think it's worth a
think
question worth
about that for a
asking.
little bit. Let it stew, and then on our next podcast, that's gonna be our first question. So
Let's do it.
again, like and subscribe, and we'll see you next
Catch on the-
time.
Catch on the flip
Alright.
side.
Take care, all 6 of you.